Take a second.
Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive.
Game over!
Take it light. Okay.
Now you're more fluent.
He got free!
Up, Bears.
So this is really good right here. Absolutely. Let's do it.
I'm going to make you tech savvy.
You know what? I am, Tone. I am more technologically advanced than I give myself credit for, but I'm not as technologically advanced as I think I am. I think that's the difference right there.
Okay. I'm sorry you caught me. I was trying to get these trying to eat these fruit candies quick before anybody noticed. I clearly did not get that done in time. First of all, yo, Daniel, first of all, I know we do basketball, but let me say two things, if I may.
All right.
One, Jerry Jones should not only fire Mike McCarthy, he should fire his damn self. That is disgusting what I watched this weekend. Disgusting.
Hey, Tone, like, if I'm not mistaken, isn't that like twice in like 4 weeks they've gotten blown out by 4 touchdowns twice in 4 weeks? Because they got smoked by New Orleans.
Yep.
Smoke. They can't stop anybody on defense. Not only can they not stop anybody on defense, their offensive line is garbage. Dak holds on to the ball way too long. Their running game is non-existent.
Shannon Sharp said, I think I could rush for 5 yards against that Dallas defense. And then he backpedaled and said, well, maybe 2. Nah, Shannon, I think we could all go for 5.
He got a bad hip too. Shannon got a different hip.
I got a broken back. I'm telling you, I still go for 4 or 5 yards per carry.
Watching the Cowboys is like watching, that drunk chick at the bar. You're like, yo, can you get her out of here, please? I'm so over the Cowboys.
Yeah, like it's the 3rd time on the table, and she's fallen off each time. Like,
get her out of here already, guys. What are you doing, man? Like, it's enough already. She's been on the table. Get her out of here. That's how I feel about the Cowboys, Tone. Every time. I'm sick of them. I'm sick of listening to when it's going to be different. I'm sick of listening to. I got my own problems with my own team. I don't care about. I wish I could say I cared about the Cowboys as much. I got my own problems with my own team. I am sick of the Cowboys. I am sick of them, Tone. I am, because the reason why I'm sick of them the most is because every year, this is the year. Every year, okay, we're signing Dak.
But just remember, what did I tell you about Mike McCarthy when they hired him?
You hated it.
I hated it. And listen, part of it is Jerry Jones. Like, people are going to say it's not the coaching. I heard Joy Taylor today. It's not Mike McCarthy. Yes, it is. It is because Mike McCarthy took a job knowing full well he's a yes man to Jerry Jones, and this team has just been running amok.
Why? If you're a coach, right? If you're a coach who, outside of the money, if you are a coach, why do you want that job? Because I'm thinking about the coaches.
You answered your own question.
That's it. That's all it could possibly be.
What did Tim Hardaway? We spoke to Tim Hardaway last week. What did he say? It's about that money, man.
It 100% is. In the end, that's all it's about, Tone. Because there is really no benefit. It's almost like coaches come to the Cowboys to ruin their head coaching career. Because, I mean, he's not a coach. I think he's the defensive coordinator with Atlanta. I mean, you think he's ever going to get another head coaching job?
Who? Mike McCarthy?
No, not Mike McCarthy.
Yeah.
The defensive coordinator for the Atlanta.
I
don't know why.
I don't know. I feel like you will, because it's one of those, oh, well, you were in Dallas. I get it.
No, Tony, I think that's the problem right there. It's in fact, it's the opposite of that. It was like, oh, you were in Dallas? Oh, well, wait a minute. I don't know if we want to.
I don't want to.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know if we want to be a part of that, because it's the Cowboys. The reason why I'm so.
Well, Jason Garrett got a job, not a head coaching job.
Right. And he's
you're right. Maybe you're right. Maybe after being, man.
It's almost like you go to the Cowboys to die. And every year, it's almost like it was with the Knicks, when the Knicks were losing 50 games a year and they were selling us every year. Okay, this is the year we're making the playoffs. This is the year we're making the playoffs. And his team is just garbage every year. And I don't think it's just Jerry Jones, because it's a bunch of people who work for him. It's just because I'm the check signer, Tone, that doesn't mean that I am the end all be all. He's got to answer to some people. He's got a board that he has to answer to. So because of that,
I don't know how much he has to answer to them, but
he might not. But there are some people who I've always felt like this, Tone. I don't care if it's the president of the United States or the janitor that works in the building that you work in. Everybody has somebody that when they talk, that person listens. They might not do everything they say, but when they talk, this person listens. I don't know who that guy is for Jerry Jones, but he knows where the bodies are buried. He knows where the tapes are. He knows where the phone cut. He knows, and he's been through the ringer with Jerry, right? So because he's been through the ringer with Jerry, he's the one who's going to be honest with Jerry. He's not a yes man. How old is Jerry? He's got to be close. He's got to be in his mid-80s now.
197. I don't know.
Something close to that, Tone. I was thinking he's at least in his mid-80s. Because of that, here we are again with this. It's almost like, okay, next year. What's the plan with this team?
He's 82. He is 82.
80?
He is,
so he's in his early 80s.
October 13th. So he just turned 82.
That was Sunday. That's my mother's birthday. Yep.
Oh,
that was Sunday.
There you go.
Yep. That was Sunday. So I just feel like with Jerry Jones, it's smoke and mirrors every year. That's why I don't take the Cowboys serious. That's why I'm over them, Tone. They have no running game. They can't stop anybody. They're selling wolf tickets every year. They have an above average quarterback who they try to sell is elite. He's not. They have an above average. They had an above average defense. It just went the other way. It's garbage now. I'm just over the Cowboys, Tone, more than anything. I'm over them. I am.
Yeah, and it's I've never been a Cowboy to be under. I know because you're over them, under them. I've always said since the 90s, this team is just living off the 90s fame because they haven't done anything since. And I think when you have an owner as your GM, you're already, has that ever worked? Has it ever worked?
I don't even know if that's ever happened before.
It may not have ever happened before. So I think everybody, we're all over the Cowboys. I'm sorry, Cowboy fans. We still them boys? I don't know. How do you feel? You said you have your own issues to deal with.
Okay, so Jordan Mason.
You're talking about Christian McCarthy.
I ain't even talking about Christian McCaffrey because he was already banged up when he was in Carolina. So I got lucky last year with him being able to hold up due to health. But then now we're back down to earth. But that's not the bad part about it. The bad part about it is, Jordan Mason, he's got a screwed up shoulder. So we're looking at a couple of weeks where he may be out. So now we're down to our third string quarterback, right? Now we're down to our third string running back. Down to our third string running back. Our defense hasn't been terrible, but we got Patrick Mahomes coming into town on Sunday. I mean, we got to go see Patrick Mahomes on Sunday, and you know how I feel about them, Tone. They're the boogeyman. They are LeBron James in the East. That's what they are. I don't want nothing to do with them, nothing whatsoever. And I don't know what's going to happen with Christian McCaffrey. Tone, you know how I feel about calf injuries and heart injuries, or the calf and the heart. I don't play with that stuff. And the idea is Christian McCaffrey could be back in 6 weeks. Okay, well, we're coming up on week 6. Because we're 3-3 now, and I haven't heard of him practicing with the crew.
No, and they said another couple of months.
This is what I'm talking about. So I wouldn't be surprised if he missed the whole season.
Yeah,
that would not surprise me if he missed the season off the strength of what it could be. And I don't want that to happen. I don't want him to tear his Achilles, and then not only do we lose him for the rest of the season, we lose him next season too. Nah, I'm really not trying to hear that. No. I'm not trying to hear that at all. So I think we solid at the quarterback spot. Right? I think we're good at the quarterback spot. I have no issues with my quarterback. I got no issues with our offense. Overall, my running game is a problem, a huge problem.
Fluent, how you feeling about Adams to the Jets? I'm upset, but I'm happy. So I'll first tell you why I'm upset. I don't like being wrong, and When I first heard that there was some tension in Raider Nation, my first thing was he should get traded to the Steelers, who could use a number 1 wide receiver to help out my boy. Because I still feel for Justin Fields, and I think a guy like Davante Adams could really help Justin Fields. And I thought a draft pick and the return of a Russell Wilson Because let's be honest, Gardner Minshew's your quarterback. I'd rather have Russell Wilson as a gap quarterback because clearly Justin Fields has won the starting role. He's going to be the starter for this team, which I said in the offseason anyways. Mm-hmm. I thought Russell Wilson's still an upgrade from Gardner Minshew as a gap quarterback. So I thought it just made too much sense for that not to happen. Now, reuniting him with Aaron Rodgers, okay. I think that's going to help Aaron Rodgers. I think it's going to help Davante Adams. I think it's going to help Mrs. Fluent, who has Davante Adams in her fantasy team. So you know, it's I think it's a good move for a Jets team that needed to do something. So good. I think it works out for everybody.
Unfortunately, Tone, I disagree with you with your sentiments of Russell Wilson. I think he's over. I think Russell Wilson. No,
I agree he's over.
However,
Minshew.
However, I think keeping him on the roster and pushing that narrative that he could be in the starting lineup and just keeping Justin Fields on his toes, I do think that helps Justin Fields' development. What I don't like is them. What I'm not trying to hear is them yanking Justin in and out of the lineup. No, we're not doing that.
Don't want that.
But the idea that, you know, Russell is here and he's quote unquote lurking and okay, he's back on the active roster, I do think that helps. But Tony, if we're going to be honest, since we're being honest, why did Davante Adams go to Vegas? He went there to get paid, Tone.
No.
He went there to get paid, Tone. Green Bay wouldn't pay him.
He was reuniting. Obviously, things were coming to an end in Green Bay for Aaron Rodgers, and he wanted to reunite with his college quarterback, Derek Carr, who lasted about 15 seconds.
With all of that being said, he went there to get paid. They paid him the most. I think Derek Carr was an incentive. Okay, my college quarterback is here.
But he could have gone anywhere. At that point in his career, everyone would have given Davante Adams that money.
Right. So he goes to the Raiders. It just so happens that my college quarterback is here. That does help. And I'm going to go play for the Raiders because they're going to pay the most. So I'm going to go play there. Now, for him to get back with Aaron Rodgers, okay, Tone, we've seen movies like this, and it looks good on the surface. Can we at least be honest about who Aaron Rodgers is at this point? Like, Aaron Rodgers isn't what he is what he was 2 years ago. Just 2 years ago. He's not. I'm sorry, right. Tone.
He's gonna have his moments where people think it's still him, like a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Where, it's Aaron Rodgers of old. No.
It's just old Aaron Rodgers.
And let's be honest. Who is Aaron Rodgers? He's a great regular season quarterback. Cool. Who won one Super Bowl 20 years ago on the strength of his defense. He only gets to the Super Bowl because he played against a third-string quarterback and his defense got a pick six to win that game for him because he played terrible. Terrible.
You can't lose to Russell Wilson when he throws 3 interceptions.
I was talking about when he won his Super Bowl, he beat the Bears.
And I know that in 2011. I was in Chicago.
Jay Cutler's hurt. The backup quarterback's hurt. Mm-hmm. It's the third-string quarterback and B.J. Raji.
And B.J. Raji.
Mm-hmm. That's what got you to your one and only. So, look, statistically, MVPs, he's great. But we judge the elite by winning rings. We just do. Like it or not, we do. Yeah. He got one. One. Listen, so my other beef is kind of with you, but it's not with you directly.
I'm involved in it. How about that?
You're involved in it. Yes, you're involved in it because you missed one thing that you needed your lawyer fluent in the building. Because you know what I forgot? Happy Thanksgiving to everybody in Canada yesterday.
I just heard about that yesterday. Yeah,
you just heard about it?
Yeah, Thanksgiving. I did not know that. I forgot all about that. Thanksgiving is in October in Canada.
Absolutely, yes. And so I would have gladly had jumped on the panel to be your lawyer, because when someone makes an audacious claim, the burden of proof is on them. And let me explain. Nobody outside of Oklahoma City Thunder fans, and I don't know when this clip is from, so it might not have been from yesterday's show, but no one outside of Oklahoma City fans had them finishing in the top 4 last year. Nobody. And when, I don't know his name, that
Swiper.
Swiper, no swiping, like my friend Dora used to say. When he says, I had them top 3.
No, you didn't.
And he says, well, you didn't know me back then. The proof, my friend, is on you. Not you. It's on him. He needs to go back and say, look, here is the tweet. Here is the YouTube video. Here is the short. Here is the reel. Here is the whatever. Because I know if you go back and look, I sent a list of selections to, I want to say Ron, because you guys were doing your top, remember the top, at the beginning of the year, you're doing your rankings, your team rank, the power rankings, I believe you guys called them last year. And let me show you without a shadow of a doubt with proof. So this is how you do it. So I will say, I'm the smart one because I can show you what I sent Ron, and I can show you where I said, if I can find it here.
You have proof. Your Honor, Exhibit F.
Right here, you can see the 4th place team.
Sir. The
Right
4th
there.
place team is Oklahoma City.
It's Oklahoma City. So I can say, and by the way, if you saw it, I had Boston, Minnesota, Cleveland, OKC. So I had OKC as the number 2 seed in the West. So okay, they finished, I believe, 1st in the West. I was off a little bit, but I can say with proof, I proved it now. You all saw it, that I had OKC up there. I did not see anyone else say that. Everybody else, when I did say that, if you recall, Fluent, you crazy. Fluent,
I
crazy.
I had them as a playoff team. I had them at 6. That's where I had them at.
I had them that high, and I'll be honest, because I thought they'd be improved, but I thought the other teams were going to be. That's why I had Minnesota and them higher, because I figured Denver coming off a chip, losing a couple of key pieces, we're going to drop a little. I just figured the other guys would not take the regular season as seriously as possible, and I'm a little biased. They got SGA, they got Lou Dort, they got some Canadians. I want to build them up a little.
Of course.
So if I were to make that claim, I'd say here's
the evidence. Sure.
The fact that he never provided that evidence, and until I see that evidence,
and on top of that, my claim was, and again, Tone, you just presented the evidence. My claim was, this is a team that was in the play-in tournament the year before. Right. We had not seen Chet. Not only had we not seen Chet the year before, Jalen Williams was a rookie. So we got a rook coming back. So we got a second-year player coming back. We got SGA. We have Chet, who we don't know anything about except what we just seen in college.
Sure.
Lou Dort. We don't know much about this crew. You're telling me right here in front of a live audience that you had them as the best team, the number 1, the best record in the Western Conference before the season started. That was blowing my mind. I'm like, no way.
No way.
No way.
I don't buy it. Now, like with everything, prove it. And I have no problem saying I was wrong. I just said I was wrong 30 seconds ago. When I said don't like that I was wrong about Davante Adams going to Pittsburgh. It's okay to say you're wrong. People want to be like, I'm 10 toes down on that one. You're wrong. A fact is a fact.
Right. I'm wrong. And that conversation derived from, we were talking about where I think Houston is going to be this year. Tone, you just showed me evidence of where you have Oklahoma City. I think Houston is a top 5 seed this year. I think they're going to be that good. Well, why? How do you possibly think that they're going to be that good? The same reason why you think Oklahoma City is going to be as good as they were. The same reason why you thought that none of y'all thought Sacramento was going to be as good as they were.
And you've been consistent with that. You are high, you're as high on Houston as I am on San Antonio. I think San Antonio is a top 6 seed. You're saying a top 5 seed for the Rockets.
Yep.
And there's a lot of reasons to think that with Houston, right? Good young core, good coach. Like they were in contention for that, what I call a playoff spot. And so assuming they take the next step in their development because they're young, et cetera, there's an opportunity. That's how I feel about the Spurs. We got a lot to talk about. I want to start with.
Yes, we do.
I want to start with the laziest man in the NBA. How can you be an MVP a no-time finals champion, a no-time finals appearances, a no-time
When you say no time, Tone, what are you saying? Are you saying zero?
zero
As in
time,
none. As in none.
as in none.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
Way weird.
Eastern Conference Finals, how many times?
Zero.
So you've won the chip 0. You've been to the finals 0. You've been to the Eastern Conference Finals 0. And you ain't playing no more back-to-backs.
No more.
I don't understand.
No more.
Like, how many back-to-backs does Philadelphia even have this season?
14 of them.
14. That actually is a lot.
They got 14 back-to-backs, right? And in the process of them having 14 back-to-backs this season, again, Tone, that leaves Joel Embiid a window of 3 games to miss to qualify for 65 games. 3 games. Now, Tone, you are, as the businessman you're a numbers guy. Are you betting on Joel Embiid and that you like that window of 3 games?
3 games.
Yeah, you like that window. I have 3 games to miss to make to qualify for 60, as opposed to having like 17 or 18 games.
Because if he doesn't play the 14 back-to-backs, he can only miss 3 more games.
That's it.
Oh, so he's not in contention for any awards this year.
0. No league MVP, no All NBA, no league MVP, no All NBA, no. And by the way, Tone, this isn't an experiment. This is him telling me that I don't see myself playing any back-to-backs for the rest of my career. Like, we're done with that. You're done playing back-to-backs. So because you're done playing back-to-backs, am I going to get, let's say I get 50 games, 55 games out of you, and you end up winning the NBA championship. Do I have to talk about him like I talk about Shaq because they won an NBA championship? Like, do I have to talk about him like I talk about Olajuwon? Because I'm not talking about him like I talk about Jabbar. I'm not doing that. No. There's a reason. There's a reason why. Just because one of the things I found out, and I think this is really interesting, is championships are very much, winning is very much like it's the best drug, because
it cures all.
It does, Tone. It cures everything. And for Joel Embiid to win the NBA championship as a starter, with playing 55 games, and if he gets busy in the playoffs, sure, he will be a champion. But that only checks one box. When we're talking about being great, winning doesn't check all the boxes. No, it only checks one box.
I take it a step further. Winning only checks the last box of being great. I think there's all the other boxes that you're going to say. I think you got to check them first.
Like, you got to get to that.
Because, that's why you get stupid people like, Jordan's 6-0. That's all he needs to do.
No.
Right? That's dumb. And then the next guy is even dumber and says, well, Robert Horry won 7. I'm like, yeah, you're even more dumb than the first guy.
Yes,
because there's all those other 55 games out of an 82 game season. Listen, I discredit rings that come in shortened season a little bit already. But now you're going to tell me you had an opportunity to play more and you played less? No, no. That's why I didn't like, I always bring this up when people say, 90, I want to say 98, Scottie Pippen was all defensive team. He played 44 games.
That was it. That's
44 games.
That's all you got out of him. He missed half the season.
Alex Caruso making the all defensive team. He's a really good perimeter defender, like great perimeter defender.
Yes, that's correct.
When he comes off the bench, he plays 17, 18, whatever it was that year, minutes a game.
Yep.
I can look better in a shorter period of time, especially on defense. Right? Like, if someone played 19 minutes a game and they put up 27, 7, and 7 in 19 minutes offensively, I'd be like, all right, that's pretty good. But to go play elite defense for 15 minutes versus, hold on, let me add another part. I don't know how many minutes it was, so I'm going to use 20.
It was 24 exact. It was actually 24 minutes.
Well, approximately half of that time was spent on offense. So you had to play 12 minutes of defense, and are you the primary defender that whole 12 minutes? There's 5 other guys on the court.
Well, wait a minute, Tone.
Hold on. Let me I'm not going to even divide it by 5. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and say half of that is your responsibility. So you played elite defense for 6 minutes?
Well, let's take it a step further. Well, number one, he's not the only one. Like Dennis Rodman came off the bench in the 89-90 season, and he won defensive player.
No, I'm using him as an example because
sure. Michael Cooper did the same thing. But to your point, like Alex Caruso, I think he played almost 24 minutes. I think he played almost 24 minutes. With him doing that, Tone, it's not like he played 24 straight minutes. No, it was 5 minutes here.
Right.
It was 7 minutes here. We put him in the game in the fourth, in the last 6 minutes of the game. That's when he played, and that resulted in him being the defensive player of the year. Say that
all defensive. Oh, you're talking Caruso?
I'm talking about Alex Caruso.
Oh, yeah,
that resulted in being an all-league defender. I say that to say with Joel Embiid, when you are only playing X amount of games, to your point, when you check this box, there's other boxes that have to be checked. For example, did you dominate? Okay, well, dominating, when you're talking about being great, what's the one component that's always there when you talk about being great? Consistency. Like you can always count on Olajuwon. You can always count on Shaq. And I don't know if you know this, Tone, which I thought was pretty impressive. Joel Embiid, at this point of his career, just finished year 8, right? He's going into year 9. Shaq, at this point in his career, has played over 140 more games than him. Olajuwon has played 161 more games than him at this point in his career in year 8. That's 2 seasons more than him. At this point, at the end of year 8, that's what we're doing. Olajuwon has over 2,500 more rebounds than him at this point in his career. Shaq has, I believe, over 1,500 more points than him at this point in his career. You want me to talk about you, and the reason why they have that is because they're there. They're available. And you want me to talk about you like I talk about this guy, that guy, and the all-time greats, because in the next 3 years, which I think, by the way, that's all I'm going to get at you at this level, Tone. I don't think I'm going to get any more from him at this level. I think I'm going to get 3 more years, and I think that's it at this level. Is he going to be over? I'm not going to say over, but I think at this level, I think I'm only getting 3 more years at this level. And within the next 3 years, if I get a championship out of him, if I get a championship out of him, which doesn't look likely right now if you're looking at what's going on in Philly, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But if I get that, you're going to tell me that by year 10, year 11, which is in the next 3 years, that now I got to start talking about him like I talk about Shaq and David Robinson because he won an NBA championship and he's averaging 50 games,
and the
55 games?
And the answer is no. You better, and people will in Philly, but the rest of us, we need to stand together and say no, because he might be. Listen, he's not a bust. But he's definitely the process was a failure, and he's the face of the process. And he might go down as the most overrated waste of pure talent of any center that I've ever seen, with the exception of with no exception, because when you look at his game, there's with the exception of the availability, and there's no weakness in his game. He should be dominating these dudes night in and night out. He should be in contention for leading the league in rebounds every single season. He should be in contention for leading the league in points every single season. He should be leading his team into deep playoff runs every single season. And I'm not talking the second round. And listen to this. You ready for this one? What are my definitions of a superstar? You know this. You come into the NBA. I've said this multiple times. You become an all-star. When you're a consistent all-star, that makes you a star player. When you're in that all-NBA, all-defensive, those types of when you start. By the way,
ladies and gentlemen, when he says when you come into the NBA, that means from the door, immediately, from day one, you're an all-star.
Yes, day one. And then after you're an all-star and you're making those all-NBA, all-defensive teams, one or the other or both, okay? Then when you have the ability to lead your team into deep playoff run consistently, that's when you're a superstar. And for me, when you've been a superstar for a number of years, that's when we can start talking about you possibly making the Hall of Fame. I know that's going back to my Hall of Fame judgment, why I think there's too many people in it. But let me go back to that step. As far as superstar status, for me, which is, and that's why I say there's only like 3 or 4 guys in the league at any given time that are superstars. Mm-hmm. He doesn't meet all the criteria because he's not been consistently leading his team into deep playoff runs. He's not been consistently available.
I think that's the difference right there, Tone.
So maybe Joel Embiid is not a superstar.
I think he's a franchise player. I think that he's good enough in terms in everything that you said in terms of his talent. I second that. I think he's good enough in terms of a talent. I think he's good enough to take his team to an NBA championship and win it. I think he's that good. I do.
He hasn't. And my point is this. Just pause for a second there. I'm going to use an example that people can relate to. Chris Bosh was on a horrible Toronto Raptors team. I mean, struggling to make the playoffs. But let's be honest. His number 2 was Jorge Garbajosa. His point guard was Jose Calderon. Like he had no help.
It was him.
If we would have thrown Tyrese Maxey, Jimmy Butler, Tobias Harris, James Harden, these guys at that Toronto team, you don't think they would have been good enough for Chris Bosh to go to the second round?
Or maybe even the conference finals, especially during that time.
No.
But you just want to stay in the semifinals.
Joel Embiid has been. So could they get into the second round? Well, yeah, sure. So is he a superstar? Well, no. So what has Joel Embiid done other than statistically looks great? Eye test, he looks fantastic. Can't get past the second round? And let's not say he hasn't had help. Let's not say he hasn't had help.
Can I say the same thing about David Robinson, though, Tone? I mean, when David Robinson was coming up, I mean, he couldn't get past the second round in a nightmare of a Western Conference. I won't argue that 100%. But
David Robinson in that, let's be honest, we don't have him as a superstar status.
But on the flip side to that, David Robinson, I feel like he was more durable and he was there more.
I would pick David Robinson over Joel Embiid.
Yes, I feel like he was there. I feel like he was more durable. I feel like he was there more, and I feel like the games that he was playing, I think that his impact was a lot larger. I feel like his impact was larger than it was than Joel Embiid. Tone, there's no way you're selling me that
maybe Joel Embiid is Tim Duncan. Maybe Joel Embiid is David Robinson. He just needs he needs to be the number 2.
Maybe that may be the case, Tone. Because if I'm thinking to myself, if I'm thinking about David Robinson, and I'm thinking about him having, let's say, the Phoenix Suns, and down 3-2, and he has them in his building in the elimination game. I don't think he lets them out of it. I don't think David Robinson lets the Phoenix Suns out of San Antonio with a win. I don't think he's letting Utah out of San Antonio with a win, and we're up in the series. I don't think he's doing that.
I think David Robinson blocks Kawhi Leonard's crazy shot from the corner, which was a travel.
He might get to that, no doubt about it. I just don't. What I don't want to do, Tone, is I'm not trying to hear talking about this dude. Y'all not gonna make me talk about him like I talk about Shaq. Y'all not. If he wins over the next 3 years, because now you're load managing him. Now you have him on a minutes restriction. I'm not trying to hear that only just because you got to the playoffs and he got busy and he only played 50 games. So now I got to talk about him like I talk about Shaq. Now I got to talk about him like I talk about Lajuan. Now I got to talk about him like I talk about Jabbar and Chamberlain and those guys. No, I'm not doing that. I will not do that. Not for a guy who at the same time as Shaq in his career has done less.
No, I've never been in on Joel Embiid, so I'm officially out on Joel Embiid.
Snap back to reality.
Speaking of snapping back to reality, some things just, we see the same story repeat itself. It's like history over and over and over. And we're going to stick on the 76ers. I'm sorry, Philadelphia fans, because I told you this team wasn't going to be good. And now, and they said, you watch, Paul George, you watch. Paul George going to be like Indiana Paul George. Paul George will be like Indiana Paul George. Paul George is out.
Oh, boy.
And listen, I don't want anybody to get hurt, and that's not the reason why I thought they were going to be bad, although I did say, even if it's best case scenario, Embiid and him are going to play about 50 games anyways. Right. And he's already now hyperextended his knee. Mm-hmm. What are your What are you hearing? What are you seeing? What are your thoughts?
You just mentioned it, Tone, about history repeating itself. We just saw this movie 2 years ago when he missed the playoffs because he hyperextended his knee late in the season, and they ended up missing. He ended up not being able to play in the playoffs, and Kawhi Leonard ultimately breaks down later on in those playoffs. And shocking. Yeah, Kawhi Leonard ultimately breaks down in those playoffs. And then now what does that leave us? That leaves us with Russell Westbrook by himself. So here we are again 2 years later in a preseason game, which I'm trying to make sense of. Well, he shouldn't be playing in preseason games. Well, if he doesn't, he's gonna if you're gonna get hurt, if you think you're gonna get hurt, it's gonna happen anyway. So if this happens in a preseason game or if it happens in the middle of December, it's gonna happen, right? So there is no I don't think there's a formula for preserving guys. Either you are available or you're not. So with Paul George, with this knee injury, I think that we're in the same space that we were when he was with the Clippers, because now we are, and on top of that, he's older. And now I have to get myself back in shape because he's going to be out of the lineup for a while. In addition to him being out of the lineup for a while, we're going to manage Joel Embiid, which, by the way, Tone, in an Eastern Conference, which is much better today than what it was years ago. So you don't have the luxury of falling in the hole like you did before, where you can make up 5 games. I mean, the Cleveland Cavaliers, who I'm really high on, the Cavs last year, they were 2 games out of the 2 spot, and they finished 4. So you could start the season 3-9. Philadelphia could do that. Now, I was looking at their roster, and I'm thinking to myself, Tone, who is their start? Let's just say for the sake of argument that Paul George was healthy. Who is their starting 5? I got Maxey at the 1. Am I starting Eric Gordon at the 2? Am I starting Kelly Oubre at the 2? Who am I starting at the 2? Because Melton's gone. So am I starting Kelly Oubre at the 2? Am I starting Paul George at the 3? Who am I starting at the 4? Because Tobias Harris is gone. And then I got, and then I have Joel Embiid at the 5. So of the starters that I had, of the guys that I have, the only guys that I'm thinking to myself,
here's who they're starting. I have their depth chart.
Okay.
So let me give you who at least they're projected starting 5 would be. So Maxey at the 1, Oubre at the 2, Paul George, who is out, at the 3. Caleb Martin at the 4.
And Embiid
Joel
at the 5.
Embiid at the 5.
How you feel about that 5?
Well, I've already told you how I feel about that 5. They're going to be a playing team.
I don't like that 5 at all.
And just think about it. Not only is that a playing team, that's if they're all healthy.
Right.
So right now you can see it. Paul George is out. Joel Embiid is out. So we're going to have Kelly. Well, no, you can't even have Kelly Oubre starting at the 2. He's the backup small forward. You're going to go to the 3rd string small forward because Oubre is the shooting. KJ Martin. So you're going to have a lineup where Tyrese Maxey is your best player starting at the 1. Oubre is your 2. KJ Martin is your 3. Caleb Martin, no relation, the Martin brothers, at your 4. And this guy, the most delusional human being in NBA history, starting at center.
Just do one job, and that's help this team win. You want me to say it again? You want to record that? Yeah, I'm the best rebounder ever.
No, you're not.
What'd he say?
No, you're not. No, you are not.
Record that. Yeah, I'm the best rebounder ever.
No, you're not.
Ever.
No, you're not.
You're going to have him as your start. That's a lottery team. That's a lottery team.
We garbage.
We're starting the process over again. And then
trash.
And you can't just go with the 5. Who's the backup? And I love this dude. 75-year-old Kyle Lowry.
Kyle Lowry at the 1. Let's see.
Eric Gordon at the 2.
Eric Gordon is backing up at the 2.
Ricky Council, the 4th, is your backup. Now it's small forward with him out.
Yes.
You know who your backup power forward is? I can't even say this name. Grosjean Yabusele.
Yeah, that's the French dude. He was on the French national team.
Grosjean Yabusele?
That's the dude who dunked on James in the Olympics.
Oh, so he's gonna be out of the league because he's not allowed to dunk on James. Adam Bona ends up being your backup center. This team is garbage. This team is garbage.
Trash.
team is garbage.
Oh my god. Well, I was looking at the roster today, and I was thinking to myself, wait a minute, this is a whack 5, yo. Joel Embiid makes them look really good, right? Joel, because I watched the preseason game a couple of nights ago. Last night, as a matter of fact. Was it last night? Yeah, it was last night. And I watched, Dyson Daniels, he had Tyrese Maxey boxed up, straight boxed up. I thought he did a really good job on him.
Don't forget, I got to call it out every time we bring up Dyson Daniels' name. That Fluent Jr. tells me about this guy I've never even heard of, Dyson Daniels, and he says, "You watch, Daddy. That dude's going to be an all-defensive team member by his 5th or 6th year in the league." So I don't know what year he's in now, but I'm seeing glimpses of it. I'm like, how the hell did you know that? Like, good for you.
Yes, he had Maxey boxed up last night. I thought he did a really good job on Maxey. Now, why Joel Embiid wouldn't be available for the beginning of the season is beyond me. And the reason why I'm saying that is because, Anthony Edwards played in the Olympics. He looks fantastic, just from a health standpoint. Yeah. He looks great. I know he's younger. Sure, I can get with that. But Jason Tatum, he played in the Olympics. He looks great, just from a health standpoint. Steph Curry, I've seen him in practice. He looks great. The question is why aren't you available? What if opening night is next Tuesday? A week from tonight, Tone, is opening night. So because it's a week from tonight, why aren't you available? You were just playing in the Olympics. There's no way you got out of shape that quickly. In fact, you came into camp 20 pounds lighter. I think he was 20. I think he's 20, 25 pounds lighter. So because of that, I have to think that they're managing him. Otherwise, there's no reason why you shouldn't be on the floor.
Of course, yeah. They're managing him. That's you hit the nail on the head. You don't even have to. That's it. That's what they're doing. We know that's what they're doing, and so be it.
I won't do it, Tone. I won't. I will not talk about him like that. I can't. Nope.
Let us take a break from the Sixers, because really, who wants to talk about the Sixers anymore? And we'll take a quick break, and we're going to come back with the expansion draft. Yes, you'll understand what I'm saying in 10 seconds. Don't forget to get your merch. All right, here we go. Expansion draft time. Here's how it's going to work. So, Chill has been granted his dream. The Seattle Supersonics are your franchise. I have been given the keys to the Las Vegas, whatever we call them. It would have been nice because LeBron's going to own them. It would have been nice if they were the Las Vegas Kings. Maybe we can get Sacramento to change their name to the Royals, or what could Las Vegas Chosen Ones?
The Las Vegas Flush.
The Las Vegas Royal, the Royal Flush. The Las Vegas Aces is taken, unfortunately. The Rebels, the Outlaws, something. We'll figure out something. So here's how it's going to work. We used last year's games started. So basically, now we're being generous because each team is allowed to, and this is also going to teach you something for those fans that don't know. When you say the watered down expansion era of the 90s, this is going to show to you that the teams, the top tier teams, didn't end up because we're going to use the same rules that they used. They didn't really lose anything to stop them from still being great teams. The bottom 3-4 teams always suck. It doesn't matter what year. The bottom 3-4 teams have always sucked. Look at Detroit and Washington and Charlotte. Like there's always 3-4 teams in every conference that are garbage. So that being said, we've only protected the starters. So anyone who started like the majority of their games that they played. So for example, Embiid played whatever many games he played. He started all of them, but it was like 39 or 40 or whatever. So we know that. So just because we say, he started less than 42 games, well, if he started 42 of 44, that's a starter. So we can. So they've protected their starters, and now we get to pick. And we're going to pick a point guard, a shooting guard, a small forward, a power forward, a center, one player off the bench to create our rosters and see how we do. The other caveat: if a player is taken from a team, no other player can be taken from that team. That was the rules of the expansion draft. And because we're getting ready for 26, 27?
26, 27.
26, 27. We're not that far away. So we're going to
think 27, 28, Tone.
27, 28?
I want to make sure I won't give you no bad information, Tone. I want to make sure that I give you 27, 28. Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm really scared to do this because I know who I want with the first overall pick. But since I have your name here first, I'm going to have you pick your first player. So what I need to do is tell me the player, what position you want them at, and then what team that they're currently on.
Yep. So what I did, Tone, was like we talked about. I went over a bunch of these guys. I went over every team, and I'm trying to figure out who exactly am I going to start my franchise with. Like who I'm starting a franchise. Who do I want to be the face of my franchise? And of the guys that I saw, I think this kid Anthony Black at the point guard. I think he's going to be a star. I'll take Anthony Black.
That's Orlando, yeah?
Yes, sir. I'll take Anthony Black.
All right, Anthony Black.
Yep.
Orlando. All right, that's actually a really good pick.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Black is a really good pick. I have a number of options to go with here, but I'm going to build my team around. I want to be somewhat competitive right off the jump, and I think this player is probably a starter on every other team. And I know I'm probably not going to find a superstar, so I'm going with Naz Reid.
Oh, is he available?
He is like again because we were using last year's how many games, but this year he may be a starter with the departure of
Cat.
With the departure of Cat, but
he's not going to be a starter because they're going to because
Julius Randle in right yes
so
he's still coming off the bench yes
So
now I got to take out my Orlando guys. Thanks a lot. You got to take out if you had anybody from Minnesota. All right,
I do. I have to take out anybody from Orlando. Let's see, Tone. So at my shooting guard spot, I had a bunch of guys. Like I said, I picked out a bunch of guys from their teams, and I had guys like Karis LeVert. I had guys like Sam Merrill, but oh man, the guy that
you don't have to go in order. You could pick any position you want, but
right. At the center, I like Bol.
Ah, man, that was my next pick.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to put Bol because he's actually listed, if you can believe it, as a power forward.
Bol off your hands. Yes, I will.
Because I was like, he's going to be like my Wemby at the power forward, but that's a great pick, Bol. I think he's still on Phoenix this year.
Yep.
So
he's actually on a 2-way deal in Phoenix. So
you got Bol because I thought he'd be a great next to Naz Reid. That'd be fantastic. So let's see. I'm gonna go with some scoring because I got my. I listen. Like I said, I want my team to be competitive. So I'm gonna go to the small forward position and go with a guy who, again, I think only because he's 19, turning 20. When this kid's 22, he's gonna be averaging 27 points a game. I'm going with Cam Whitmore from your favorite.
You took him. That was my guy. That was my guy. I was definitely taking Cam Whitmore next.
He's buckets. I think
you know how I feel about Cam Whitmore. I love Cam Whitmore. He's definitely a centerpiece for a team, especially like an expansion team. Yes, sir. So because you took Cam Whitmore, Tone, I'm gonna have to go young too, and I'm gonna stick with the small forward spot, and I'm gonna take Jonathan Kuminga.
I didn't even think of him. I thought he wasn't going to be. I thought he was a starter, but maybe he's not. I'll take your word for it. Jonathan Kuminga from the Warriors. Okay?
I'm going to take the cum bucket, even though we got to come up with another name. We can't.
Yeah, that's a horrible name. Do never say that again.
Awful name. And that name. When I first heard it, I'm like, yo, we got to come up with a different name.
That is a horrible name.
We got to come up with a different name. We can't use that. No.
I'm torn. I'm really torn, but oh man, I know who I want. No, you know what? No. Oh, there's someone that. Oh, no, okay, I'm not gonna do that. It's my turn to pick. I'm gonna let me stick to what I'm building here. I'm building something. I think another player. You know what? I'm gonna go to my team. And this guy, I think he's gonna get a lot of starter minutes, but he did not start games last year. And if you can object, if you object, I'm going at power forward with my guy from LA, Hachimura. Ryu Hachimura.
I don't know, Tone. I think he was a starter on that crew more than he was. In fact, that was the big thing, right? That was the big reason why people were so upset, because the five of Reeves, D'Lo, James, James, Rui, and Anthony Davis. That was the starting five that won the most games last year.
They won the most games, but out of the 68 games he played, and that's why I asked, because we had a limit of 42. However, 68 games he played, he started 39. So he did miss. So he did, but he did miss. Like, had he played 82 games, does he go over? Does he get 3 more starts? So that's why I said I put it out there, and I'll let you be the judge.
You can have him, sure. I'm good with that. You can have him. No problem.
That was my thinking. I knew he'd be borderline, but I had to get a Laker in there.
Yeah.
All right. So we got Rui Hachimura.
Yep.
From the Los Angeles Lakers.
And again, Tone, this is my expansion team. So, you know, I'm trying to put I'm trying to put a crew together that we can build around. So yeah. I got some star power, right? I feel like I got some star power. Kuminga was on the championship team. Tone, I love this kid in Chicago, Dosunmu, at the shooting guard spot. Ayo Dosunmu.
He was on my list. You got to tell. Do you have his name in front of you to spell?
Yes, it is DOSSUMU.
DOSSU?
Yes.
MU? Like that?
DOS. Yes. I want to make sure I spelled it right. DOSUMU. I'm
hey,
sorry.
Yo.
DOSUMU. Sumu.
DOSUMU.
Yep.
Hey, yo.
Hey, yo.
Hey, yo.
All right, that's a fantastic pick, because he was going to be my shooting guard. So now I got to make a little move. So as I've mentioned, I want my team to be young, but I also want my team to be competitive. So I am going to, because you picked your shooting guard, I can kind of go through. Right, I'm weighing. I'm like, do I want like a Bruce Brown, championship experience, good defender? Can I bring him in to be a starter? Do I go with the guy who replaced him in Denver, playing that role in Christian Brown, even though they pronounce his name Braun? I really like Aaron Wiggins. People don't talk about Aaron Wiggins in OKC, I don't think enough. Do I go super athletic with Shaedon Sharpe? Do I go with a little bit more of a veteran presence in Jordan Clarkson? And I ended up going with, and I'm still, you can tell I'm actually not so completely sold. Karis LeVert was another one I was thinking. Yep, but I'm gonna go with the defense. I'm gonna go with Bruce Brown. I like like you said, the championship pedigree, and the defense. That's where I'm going there.
All right, Bruce Brown it is. So I need a 4-man, right? I need a 4-man, and I'm thinking about, again, it's Vegas. So can I get a high wire act in Vegas? Can I get a super duper athlete? I already got one in Jonathan Kuminga. Could I get another one? Maybe. I could get one in Obi Toppin.
Oh, he was on my list too.
Yes, I think I could get one in Obi Toppin.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll take him off your hands.
All right, so I need a point guard, and then I need someone off my bench. Now here's where I struggle. Because I know the popular choice. I know the choice that people are going to kill me on, but I feel like I'm going to give this guy a shot. It's an expansion team. What's the worst that could happen? He stinks. Okay, we're an expansion team. So
we stink anyway. That's what y'all expect.
Anyways.
Dude, does Brooklyn make him available in the expansion draft, Tone?
Hell yeah, they do for the amount of money he's making. And let's not forget, part of me also knows as a GM of an expansion team, the NBA has a floor that I have to spend a certain amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna go with Ben Simmons. Like, I think I got defense, I got scoring. I feel really good about my team. And they're all young.
Just a year and a half ago, right? We're in October of 2024. This was like late 2022, maybe early 2023. When I talked about Ben Simmons, and I was way wrong. I wasn't wrong. I was all the way wrong about Ben Simmons. And Tone tried to warn me about him. Meanwhile, he's starting his franchise with him. He tried to warn me about him when I said that I think that Ben Simmons, this is going to be a comeback year, and he's going to end up being one of the most improved players. And you tried to warn me about him, and I didn't listen. Meanwhile, I'm starting his franchise with him.
Because you know who my other two options were? Because I know you're not going to pick either one of these guys. I was going to go Dyson Daniels for that defense, or I was going to get the popular vote and watch the chat go nuts when I say I was going to pick up Killian Hayes. And Nembhard, unfortunately, can't pick anybody from Indiana. So yeah, Nembhard would have been Nembhard was going to be my bench guy. But go ahead. So you got anybody you want off the bench? We can even go more guys off the bench too if you want. But
for my bench guy, and I'm a big fan of his, and this is out west because I got my lead guard, I got my shooting guard, I got my high wire act because we're gonna be fun to watch. I'm gonna take the kid in Sacramento, Ellis. I love him. Keon Ellis.
Keon Ellis, right?
Yep. ELLIS. Yep.
Sacramento, Keon Ellis.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now I can completely go through my list and let me see if there's anybody that I'm gonna say here that you were like, oh, I completely thought about him, or I didn't think about him. And then I'll tell you who my bench guy is. So at point guard, I had Peyton Pritchard, obviously Ben Simmons, Killian Hayes, Dyson Daniels. Like I created a short list for every position. I already went through the shooting guard, so I'm not gonna do that.
That's what I have my draft boy right here.
Yeah. I got my. I'm a little more digital.
Yeah. I got my draft boy right here.
I had, I was like, oh, some scoring off the bench, maybe, Bojan Bogdanovic, Torrey Craig, but Chicago's taken. I so badly want to take Juan Wick, just so I can the Spanish John Wick. And then I obviously took Whitmore. Keldon Johnson from Sacramento, from San Antonio, is another one that I was like, oh, he's a possibility. You picked up Obi Toppin.
I did.
Bol, Trey Lyles. I'm holding this one name because you're gonna like my pick for sixth man. At the center, right? There's Mo Bamba. I really like this guy out of Atlanta, and I can't say his name. Onyeka Okanau
from Atlanta.
Yeah,
Mars said his name too. I can't say it.
I can't say his name, but I like him a lot. Obviously, Franz Wagner's brother.
I had him up here too. Yes, I did.
Mo Wagner, Tristan Vucevic from Washington. I also had, and this is actually the first one I was gonna pick was gonna be Dario Saric as my backup, but you pick someone from Golden State, so I can't pick him. So I'm gonna go with a vet. Who's gonna keep my boys in line and smack them around when they get out of hand. I had Mark Williams too. Who said Mark Williams from Charlotte?
Mark Williams is not going to be available. The reason why he didn't play last year because he got hurt. That's a starter.
Yeah, exactly. I had him on my list, but that's why he's playing in what?
Yeah, he's playing.
Sharp.
Yeah.
We tried to stay away from those guys because those guys, I knew those guys would be protected.
Right.
So
just like Jaime Jaquez. Jaime Jaquez is not going to be available in expansion draft. Hell no.
Right.
No.
I'm going to go with the guy who's 6th man of the year candidate every year. Put Bobby Portis.
I think I had Bobby Portis on my list. Yes, I did. I did have Bobby Portis on my list. Yes. I don't know why I didn't pick Bobby Portis. Probably because he's older. And I'm starting a franchise. I'm starting a franchise with a bunch of young guys. That's what I'm doing.
And you know what? I was like, let's have a I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. Let's have a player that, you know, a vet to kind of keep them in line a little bit. So I made our faces bigger. So I can run this through. This is so we can clip it for TikTok, and we can get the chat to give us a little vote. So, first, let me go in so I can create the vote because I want to do that. I can't do that right now. Okay, that's fine. You just put it in the comments. So here's your team. So Chills Supersonics, Seattle Supersonics. Anthony Black at point guard.
Hey yo.
Sumu at his shooting guard.
Hey yo,
we just call him Ayo. Small forward Jonathan Kuminga, whose name I spelled wrong. I cannot live with incorrect spelling. Kuminga, there we go. Kuminga at the small forward. Obi Toppin at the power forward position. Bol starting at center, and Keon Ellis coming off the bench. My team. I got the resurgence, Ben Simmons at the point guard, Bruce Brown, the NBA champion, at the 2, Cam Whitmore, who will lead the league in scoring or at least field goal attempts with my team, at the small forward, Rui Hachimura at the power forward, Naz Reid at center, and Bobby Portis. Did we make any of these teams significantly worse?
Can we or did we?
Did we?
No, I don't think we. I don't think we made them. I don't think we made them significantly worse. But I think that plucking Anthony Black away from Orlando, that does sting.
Yeah, I would say that. Now keep in mind, guys, we only allowed 5 people to be protected, which are the starters. Guys, like, let's be honest. Anthony Black's going to be protected. Ayo is going to be protected. Kuminga's going to be protected. Toppin might be available. Bol would be available. And Keon Ellis, I think, would be protected.
He will be protected. Yes, he will.
So you would have got probably 2 of those guys. Ben Simmons, I think, just because of the money, I think Brooklyn leaves him unprotected. Bruce Brown, I think, is I don't think Toronto protects Bruce Brown.
Nah.
No, just because of the way their team is constructed right now, I don't think they would. Cam Whitmore 100% is going to be protected.
Right.
Rui's going to be protected. Naz is going to be protected. Bobby Portis is going to be protected. So we both probably have maybe 2 guys that we could actually get in an expansion draft.
Because usually, like you said, Tone, when you have an expansion draft, I think it's 7 or 8 guys that are protected when you have an expansion draft. So, I mean, they're talking about them opening up the season 27-28. So, okay, 24, 25, 25, 26, 26, 27. So that's 3 seasons from now, right? So 3 seasons from now, you're going to give whomever is going to get a team wherever they're going to play. You got to give them time to whether get an arena, which that's a whole nother conversation for me, Tone. I'm not a fan of I've never been a fan of these owners getting subsidies for an arena. Yo, you got enough money. Build your own arena. You got plenty of dough. Build your own arena like Steve Ballmer did. Build your own arena.
And that's why Seattle lost their team in the first place, which
you got plenty of dough. Build your own arena. You can do it. Yeah. You don't need city money to do that. You got plenty of money. Steve Ballmer has over 25 or I think he's got like $30 billion. Build your own arena. You got plenty of dough to do it. You do.
And you know, that's the interesting thing that you bring that up because the previous, not the arena thing, is that the 8 guys that are protective, maybe down the road when it gets closer to that 20, what did you say? I know you sent it to me.
27-28.
27-28. That's actually so far away. That's too bad. Seattle shouldn't have to wait that long for a team. That being said, down the road, what we should do maybe next year at this time is take the top guys minutes played, the top 8 from the previous season, so you can't pick those guys because those are guys that actually play.
So take the minutes guys off the table.
Take the top 8 minutes guys off the table.
Okay.
And see who's left.
Who's left.
I'm
happy with that.
That's
sure.
That's gonna be a bad team. So the next thing, who you want to? Oh no, wait. Did anyone pick? So who won?
Yeah.
Who won?
Yeah.
Was it the Seattle Sonics, drafted by GM Chill, Anthony Black, Ayo, Kuminga, Toppin, Bobo, and Ellis, or Team Fluent, Las Vegas, owned by King James, GM Me, Ben Simmons, Bruce Brown, Cam Whitmore, Hachimura, Naz Reid, and Bobby Portis. Let us know who won. Let us know who won. I want to move on. I'm trying to get something, and it's not available because I want to show the picture of it because I think it's important. Because you sent me some Michael Jordan statistics that you wanted to talk about, and I got to tell you, pretty damn impressive if you ask me. Oh, here we go. I think I got it.
When I saw that, I was like, "Yo, how about that?"
A lot of times now I start to ask the question, like, are these real? Sometimes,
right?
Sometimes
it's almost like some cartoon type of shit. Like, wait a minute,
I see, because people, I get tricked all the time, by people, like posting like a quote, and then they're like, no, that they actually didn't say that. And I'm like, oh, well, then why the hell did you post it? So, in Michael Jordan's entire career, he faced off against 9 of the top 10 all-time block leaders, 7 of the top 10 all-time scorers, 8 of the top 10 all-time steals leaders, and 7 of the top 10 all-time assist leaders. If you think this era was competitively watered down, then y'all are swimming in the ocean today.
Yes. Well, if you think about, so 9 of the top 10 rim protectors, is that what it is? Is that because like when I hear stuff like that, I immediately like I said, Tone, when I hear stuff like that, I immediately go back and I go do my homework, and I'm looking at who were these guys that Jay was going up against. So he went up against Mutombo. Yeah, Jabbar was in the league. Olajuwon is in the league. Artis Gilmore was in the league, right? I'm thinking about these great shot blockers. Right, Artis Gilmore was in the league when that was going on. David Robinson was in the league. Ewing was in the league. Shaq was in the league. Robert Parrish was in the league. Lonzo Mourning was in the league. These are the guys that he went up against when he was playing. Artis Gilmore was on his team, so he didn't play. He didn't play against Artis Gilmore. Artis Gilmore was on his team. Like Mark Eaton was in the league. Tim Duncan was in the league when this was going on. And and again, it was a big man league, so that doesn't surprise me when I hear that, right? That doesn't surprise me when I hear that, but I still think it's fantastic because he was averaging 37 a game and 35 a game with these kind of rim protectors running around. These are the kind of rim protectors running around. And then Tone, when you take it, like I said, when you take it a step further than that, when you go to the steals leaders, right? So when you go to the steals leaders, so Stockton was in the league during that time. Right. Not only was Stockton in the league during that time, Gary Payton was in the league during that time. Jason Kidd was in the league during that time. James wasn't in the league. Drex was in the league. Olajuwon. Right. These are the guys who, because Olajuwon finished in the top 10 in steals when he retired. Alvin Robinson was in the league during that time. These are the guys that he's going up against. Doc was in the league, but they count Doc ABA stats. In addition to them, and
also just as a correction, I didn't want to interrupt you, but you said Jordan played with Artis Gilmore.
Yeah,
he played with Artis Gilmore for like 20 something games.
Yeah, that was his last year in the league. He was over.
Yeah, well, no, he played. I think he played for 5 seconds in Boston after that, but he was in San Antonio for most of it. And yes, played 20 something. I don't know how. Me, I never know the exact number, but he did play with him a little bit. He did play against him, but it was in the Western Conference because he was in San Antonio, so he probably only saw him but twice a year, anyways. That's the part that I hate, by the way. For all the history of the NBA, is that the Eastern Conference and Western Conference teams they never got to play each other enough. And like unless they met in the finals, right? Like I hate the way that the schedule is broken up, and I get it why it was that way in the 70s, right? Because you were taking commercial flights, and you had to take a pedal bike between the hotel and the arena. But now you got private jets.
You know what, Tone? I didn't think about it like that. We can actually get more Western Conference games.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to just be 41 West games. It doesn't have to be not 41. I'm sorry. It doesn't have to be just one once we go to Golden State or once we go to Portland. No,
they play the East plays 15 games in the West.
Yeah, we can actually cut that down.
And let's listen. If we're fixing the league, let's be honest. How about we go back to some matinee games? And I know that kind of maybe it sucks. I know that sucks for the West Coast guys. I'm not saying doing it all the time, but like I wouldn't mind like a 5 o'clock game, a 6 o'clock game. It's still after work.
Yes.
Right. So it's at least 9 o'clock. It's a doable time on the East Coast. Now, maybe that's me being selfish. Sure. Right. Like, I do remember waking up to watch football games at 10. But when I was in Hawaii, right, I was waking up for 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, whatever it was. To watch a football game. That was a little early. Early.
It's a lot early, Tone.
I get it.
Now, that's actually I didn't think about that. We may have to start a campaign considering let's cut down some of the West Coast games for West Coast teams. Let's cut down some of the East Coast games for East Coast teams, and let's put more West Coast games on the schedule.
Yeah. Yes.
Like you don't have to. We don't have to. If I'm the Knicks, like we don't got to see Toronto 5 times in the division. No, we don't have to do that.
Just think about if it's 2-2 even, right? 2-2. That's 30 games. I still have 52 games. I think that's more than enough. 52 games against the East is more than enough, right? And now at least, look, and again, this is selfish. Fluent Jr. Now I get to take him to 2 Warriors games in Toronto, not 1.
They come to Toronto not once. They come twice.
They come twice.
Yeah, they come twice out here. Sure.
Why not? It's so.
I don't hate that, Tone. If I'm being honest with you, I don't hate that.
I don't think anybody would object to it, because those are games we want to see.
I do. I would if I'm being honest with you, Tone. I wouldn't mind seeing because what it is it's a playoff.
You wouldn't mind Houston coming to Miami a couple times so you can catch them.
Not only that, the preseason game that I just saw with Minnesota and the Knicks, I'd like to see that more than twice a year.
Yeah.
I'd like to, because that looks like that's turning into something.
Rivalry. It could have been a rivalry, yeah.
Right. That looks like that's turning into something. I wouldn't mind seeing that. I wouldn't mind if I'm looking at Miami and I wouldn't mind Phoenix coming down here a couple times, and as opposed to them only coming down here once. Yeah. I'm good with that. But back to your point, Tom, when you talked about Jordan, I mean, when I think about the guys that he played against, that's why I have such a difficult time when I hear the plumber logic or he didn't have any competition. Like I had to listen to a guy tell me, well, what kind of competition? The conversation that you and I had a couple of days ago when you stitched one of my videos when you talked about 10 scoring titles to 40,000 points, and a guy said to me, how many of those 10 scoring championships, like who was Jordan going up against to get those scoring championships? I'm like, wait a minute,
what?
Okay, let's relax, okay? Because this isn't Jordan just breezing through the league and there's no scorers, right? I mean, Jordan, of those 10 scoring championships he had, I don't know if you guys know this, but there was a scoring machine named Dominique Wilkins who finished second to him 4 times. So in them years when Jordan was averaging 37 and 35, it was that guy who, by the way, at the end of Nick's career, there was only 7 guys in NBA history who scored more points than him. That's number 1. And then after Nick, who kind of was still in the mix, Malone finished 4 times finished second to Jordan. This is the guy who only 1 guy scored more points than him in NBA history when he retired. That's it. Only 1 guy. These are the 2 guys. That's 8 of them right there, Tone. 8 of the 10. Then on top of that, I didn't mention Lajuan. I didn't mention him coming in second.
Here, I'll give you the top 5 scorers. So Jordan, this is the first one he won. Dominique, Alex English, who people forget. Alex English, by the way, scored more points than any other player in the 80s.
The whole decade, by the way.
Whole decade. No one scored more points than him. Larry Bird, And then you have Kiki Vanderwey. People don't remember guys like Kiki Vanderwey, Kevin McHale, etc. But anyway, so there's the first year. Second year, Jordan wins. Dominique, Larry Bird, Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, Clyde Drexler.
What are we doing, Tom?
And there's more guys, but like I'm just giving you the first bunch. The next one he wins. Karl Malone, Dale Ellis had himself a year, and this is actually part of the reason why I say why I thought it was tougher to win the scoring title, because you get a guy like Dale Ellis who just goes nuts one season, averages 27.5 points per game, comes out of nowhere. So is he one of the elite scorers that you got to worry about? No, but he had himself a season. Right. But Dale Ellis.
You can have one guy come out of nowhere and throw a monkey wrench the whole thing.
Yeah.
Sure.
Clyde Drexler, Alex English, Chris Mullins, Dominique Wilkins again, Charles Barkley, Tom Chambers. Don't sleep on Tom Chambers. That was the year, I believe he became the first unrestricted free agent and went to Phoenix.
Chambers.
Let's get out of here. Jordan.
Nephew, what up? What's up, nephew?
We're talking about your boy Dyson Daniels.
Oh, yeah.
He's looking pretty good. He might be an all-defensive team, like you said.
No, I said all NBA.
Oh, you said all NBA? Oh, I thought you said all defensive.
Wow.
In the next 5 years.
Oh, in the next 5 years. Yeah, I know you said the next 5 years. I thought you said all defensive.
No, it's all NBA.
I'd stick to all defensive.
No, he's him.
He's him. All right, he's him.
He might be. He might be.
Okay, I should have picked him in the expansion draft. The next year it's Jordan, Malone, Ewing, Chambers, Wilkins, Barkley, Mullen, Miller, Bird, like Olajuwon, Robinson.
These are the dudes he's going up against.
These are the dudes he's going up against.
Yeah, these are the
we get into the watered down 90s. Malone, Bernard King, Barkley, Ewing, Wilkins, Mullen again, Robinson, Mitch Richmond, our friend Tim Hardaway. The next year, Dominique again, Malone, Mullen, Drexler, Ewing, Hardaway, Robinson, Barkley. I'm going 10 deep. Mitch Richmond, Glenn Rice, Ricky Pierce, Hakeem Olajuwon.
Bucket getters.
These guys could score.
Bucket getters.
Michael Jordan again, obviously Wilkins, Malone. I'm saying the same names again. Olajuwon, Mullen, Shaq. Oh, now Shaq's entered the conversation.
Hi. That's what that is.
Hey,
yo, what up?
It's bedtime.
That's Shaq knocking. That's Shaq knocking on the door. Like, hi, I'm here now.
The year that he didn't play, he was retired. Check this out. You had Robinson, Shaq, Olajuwon, Wilkins, Malone, Ewing, Mitch Richmond. Like, you kidding me? The next year, okay, he doesn't come back till 17 games. And then the last three: Olajuwon, Shaq, Malone, Robinson, Chris Webber, Jamal Mashburn. Like, guys, you forget how good they were at scoring the basketball. Malone, Glenn Rice, Shaq, Mitch, Latrell Sprewell, Allen Iverson enters the building. Olajuwon, Ewing, LaFonso Ellis had himself a year, right?
Allen Iverson shows up.
And then in his last one, you had Shaq. And let's keep in mind, guys, these are, defensive, like scoring's in the 80s and 90s at this point, right? And these guys are dropping 27, 28 a game. Jordan, Shaq, Malone, Robinson, Richmond, Antoine Walker, Sharif Abdul-Rahim on an expansion team just scoring like nuts. Glenn Rice, Allen Iverson, Chris Webber, David Robinson, Michael Finley, Latrell Sprewell, Tim Duncan, Grant Hill. Like, come on, man.
There was competition. There was legit competition. In terms of a scoring, in terms of a scorer, there was definitely legit competition. The reason why I have brought up, and here's the thing, Tone. This is why when I talk, I have a difficult time with the Jordan James debate off the strength that I feel like we've beaten it to death. I don't think that there's anything else that needs to be said.
I don't think there's new material coming.
Yeah, I don't think that there's any. And on top of that, I never felt like, whenever you and I have had this conversation, I never really feel like I got to talk about Jordan to prop up James. Like I can recognize Jordan for doing something great. I don't have to say Jordan did this, but no. This is what we're talking about right now.
When you and I talk about it, we talk about the greatness of Jordan and we talk about the greatness of LeBron. For those that are going to say, but in my TikToks, I don't talk about Jordan and LeBron in the context of this or this. I talk about them. You said something that, not you, the person that I'm replying to, I'll do it this way. You said something that was untrue.
Not true. I gotta correct you.
And I'm correcting you. Mm-hmm. That's different. When you say Jordan couldn't go left, I'm going to correct you. When you when you say LeBron got locked up by JJ Barea, nope, I'm going to correct you.
That's not true.
People say you do more Jordan than LeBron. I'm like, yeah, because if you look at my inbox, I get 1,000 incorrect LeBron things, and I get 2 Jordans, 1 Kobe. I wish I got more other ones. Like you're good. You just pick out stuff and start talking. I try to go through my inbox and talk to those guys, and I'm just like, it's always the same thing. Maybe I'm gonna do what you do. I'm gonna steal some of your stuff. I'm just gonna pull out articles and start talking about them. Like this one that has the ESPN ranked NBA players. We have 51 to 100.
What are we doing, Tom?
At number 51, do you want me to read? You don't want me to read the whole list. But at 51, you have OG Anunoby.
You do have it. Oh, you got the list?
I have the whole list. At 100, you have Anthony Simons. But there's one in particular that I think you disagree with, and I agree with you. So they have Kobe White over my guy, Naz Reid.
Kobe White is not better than Naz Reid, Tom. No, he is not. No, he is not better than him. The versatility of Naz Reid, the long ball shooter that he is, not just the long ball shooter that he is, how he gets to the rim with the basketball, plus what he does on defense, the versatility that he has on defense. Kobe White was 58, by the way. Can I give you some of the names of the people he was ahead of? Obviously, Naz Reid was one. Oh boy.
I'm just randomly picking Alex Caruso, Desmond Bane, Josh Hart, KCP, Chris Middleton, Emmanuel Quickley, Malik Monk, Draymond Green, Cade Cunningham, Bradley Beal, Klay Thompson, Austin Reeves, Jared Allen, Zach LaVine, maybe Dante DiVincenzo, Jaden McDaniels, Fred VanVleet, Miles.
Hold on, rewind. Go back to the beginning. Who did you say that it was the first couple of guys that I'm not sure about?
Alex Caruso, Desmond Bane.
I don't think he's better than Desmond Bane. No,
I just read the 3 after him.
Yeah, I don't think he's better than Desmond Bane, but keep going.
Yeah, so Bradley Beal, I'm at 70 now. Bradley Beal, Klay Thompson, Austin Reeves, Jared Allen, Zach LaVine, Tyler Hero, Fred VanVleet. I'm skipping. Miles Turner, CJ McCollum, Naz Reid, 87, I think is crazy. Andrew Wiggins, Jonas Valanciunas, Brooke Lopez, Keegan Murray, Jalen Suggs, Herbert Jones, Mike Conley, Chris Paul, Anthony Simon.
I'm cool with Chris Paul because I think Chris Paul.
I think an age thing, but
yeah, I don't think I do not. If I'm being honest with you, Tone, there's
Kobe White.
There's a lot of people who are really high on Kobe White, which I'm one of those people, and I was in the majority. You thought he should have been most improved last year.
I did, considering
what the award actually means.
What it means, yes.
Yeah. Considering what the award actually means, he should have won most improved. The fact that they gave it to Maxey, I didn't hate that, but right, I didn't hate it. But when I look at what Kobe White did, I can't say with 100% certainty that
you can't have. Listen, I picked Kobe White for a reason. So if anyone who thinks I'm slandering Kobe White by saying I don't know that he should be 58, no, because I had him as most improved. However, this is why he should be most improved. When you go 19, 5-5,
yep.
And in the previous season you went, I'm going to round up 10, 3-3. Dude, like you get it. Like that's the most improved. Like that's quite literally the definition of what that award is for a guy who became slightly but more consistent from the field, more consistent from 3. Like that's who you give that award to. He should be, and at 19 a game, 100%. He's maybe he is. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he is top 50. I don't know. It just
I look at the rest of the guys that won it, and when you talk about the most improved player, and you and I have had this conversation, Tone, when you talk about the most improved player, the majority of them over the last couple of years, their scoring average went up 5 points on average.
Yeah,
their scoring average went up 5 points. I think Kobe White's scoring average went up like 8 points or something nuts like that.
No, he almost doubled it. He went 9.7 to 19.1.
Yeah, so that's what I'm talking about. So
he went up 9.4 points. So
he averaged almost 20 a game,
double,
right?
Almost double.
He averaged almost 20 a game. So being the most improved player, and by the way, the most improved player, just because you are on a bad team does not negate you from being the most improved player. That does not negate you from being that.
That is an award that is just about you.
Yes, you can be on that. Now, I did have an issue with Herb Jones being close to 100 than a bunch of those other guys, because I ain't buying the idea that Jaime Jaquez is better than Herb Jones today. No, he is not. No, I am not taking Jaime Jaquez over Herb Jones today. I'm not doing that. As good as I think Jaime Jaquez is going to be, because he's a guy that I look at and I think to myself, and I'm sure I've said this to you, Tone. Maybe it was a while ago, but there are certain guys who embody a certain organization. Like you'll look at a guy and go, yo, that's a Laker right there.
Yeah.
You look at a guy and go, that guy, he looks like he's a New York Knick. When I look at Jaime Jaquez, he just looks like a Miami Heat. He looks like a guy who he would be great with the Miami Heat. That's just
Juan Wick.
Yep, that's just what he looks like. So when I think about Jaime Jaquez being ahead of Herb Jones, considering Herb Jones may be the best perimeter defender in the game. I mean, you talk about Alex Caruso, as good as he is. You talk about Jaden McDaniels, as good as he is. Like, I think he's better than Lou Dort.
I think what happens is, like, he was a top 50 scorer last year. And not incorrectly, like, I agree with this to a certain extent. We look at scoring first.
Yes, we do.
And we weight it more than everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And you should, right? Like, I keep saying this, like, you should look at scoring first. You should weight it more than everything else, because the team that wins 100% of the games score the most points.
Yes, they do.
So that's 100% accurate.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, you perfect timing, Darko. We're going to do your super chat right after this. That's what people looked at first. So that probably puts him into that, that's why he's at that 50, is because we looked at the scoring, the offensive game, right? We look at scoring, offense, and then defense is a distant third.
Right.
So let's get to Darko, since he's right. Perfect timing. What's good, OG and Fluent? OG, I've been looking at Enrique Freeman play as of late. I'm seeing the flashes. He is relentless on the glass.
I loved him in the draft, Tone. I don't know if you remember me talking about him. He played in the MAC. He went to Akron, led MAC in rebounds 4 straight years. 4 straight years he led. And by the way, he was a walk-on at the University of Akron. He didn't get a scholarship. He was a walk-on there. Indiana got him in the 2nd round, which was a steal. I think they're treating him as a project, but I think that him, not just the glass cleaner that he is, and the defender that I think he's going to be, I think that he can be one of the better transition players in the game too. Just a finisher around the rim at 6'7", 6'8". I think Indiana got a steal in him, and if they decide to trade him, whomever they trade him to, they're going to have a steal. 100% they are.
How would the divisions look? I'll just do this one quickly. Memphis in the East. Yes. So when Vegas and Seattle join, either Memphis or New Orleans, one of them will move to the East, so that it's 16 and 16. We'll still have to get a couple more teams but I think it's Memphis. I think Memphis is probably more East.
But what division does Memphis go to, Tone? Do they move to the Central Division with Indiana and which with Indiana and Chicago and Detroit?
Yeah.
Or do they move to the South with Miami and Orlando and Washington?
No, I would know. Oh, maybe. Yeah, I think
that's what they move to.
But they're going to probably reshuffle those two. So they'd have to. They'd have to reshuffle, because then one would have more. Because right now it's 3 divisions of 5.
Correct.
Right? And now when you go to 16, that's going to change.
Right. You're
gonna probably have one of 6, is what happens there. So that's now maybe 1 of 6, or with 16. In my opinion, I don't like. No one cares about who wins the division. Let's be honest. Like, I won the Atlantic Division. Big deal. Sorry, I was cussed. No one cares. So they might just do 8 North, 8 South. So you'd have the Eastern Conference split up North and South, 8 and 8. In which case they'd probably South, and then same thing in the West, 8 and 8 North and South. That would be whatever.
There are, unfortunately, people who still care about divisions, and I don't see.
Nobody cares about the division.
They do in Miami. They hang banners for division championships in Miami.
That's a loser mentality. We're going to help them get rid of that loser mentality.
I know that's nuts. I mean, they do it in Brooklyn too. They did it in Miami. With that being said, I don't see.
I'm of the Kobe mindset that we only hang up championship banners. That's what we do.
If you look up in the Raptors with the Celtics, that's all that's up there. Championship banners.
Have you been watching Starting Five?
I saw the whole thing. Great documentary.
Oh my gosh, they're having this conversation with Jason Tatum, and this was obviously before they won, and they're showing all the banners, and they have a blank banner there, and I'm like, that is brilliant. Like, I love that motivation. Like, what's the blank one there for? That's for our next one. I love it. I love it
because we're gonna win. We're gonna win it again, whether you're here or not.
Yeah, we're winning. We're winning another one.
That's why I was always such a big fan of Pat Riley at the time, because Pat made it clear, I'm going to build this thing, whether you're here or not. I'm going to do it, and to put that up there to let Jason Tatum know, okay, the next one is number 18 is going to be right there. Are you going to be a part of it? Because we're going to do this, no doubt. But when I think about, again, like you said, Tone, there are organizations that pride themselves on that. Now, remember, ladies and gentlemen, who I'm talking to. I'm talking to a spoiled, rotten, Bentley driving, Rolls Royce in the garage, 6, 7, 8, 9 bedroom house Laker fan. So that's absolutely. So this is they're not Subway sandwiches with the Lakers.
Well, let's be real, because of your guy. They put up a stupid in-season tournament championship, but I'm going to find a way to burn that down. I'm going to burn that down.
Which you hate, by the way.
Hate it.
With that being said, I'm talking to a spoiled, rotten Laker fan who doesn't care about anything else but championship banners. Not Western Conference championship banners, not Pacific Division championship banners, NBA championship banners. Only except not every team in the NBA is the Lakers. So division titles matter to a lot of other teams, unlike the Lakers, unlike the Celtics.
Losers.
Right? So again, remember who I'm talking to.
Losers hang up participation flags. Yep.
That's what I'm talking about here. I'm talking to, like I said, a Bentley driving, Rolls Royce in the garage, 8-bedroom house. This is what he's used to. So the Toronto Raptors, who win the Atlantic Division, they're going to hang up a banner. So the Memphis Grizzlies, when they come to the Eastern Conference, they can't go to.
Yeah, they should hang up a banner with LeBron's face on it.
They're not gonna go. I don't think Memphis goes to the Atlantic Division. I see them more.
No, I don't think so.
I see them more in the Southeast Division than I see them.
I think you're right. I think you're right because Memphis too. It's more. It feels more southern, regardless of where it is geographically. It does feel more southern. Okay, just quickly. I always like these ones. Fluent needs to come back to the panel and need to be there for Chill. You need some backup? They coming at you, these uneducated people?
I think I'm good. I mean, I do my best.
Okay, so there you go. So Chill doesn't want me back. That's a problem. Sorry, Gloria, who says, "Can we get Tone back on Player's Choice?" Apparently not. Chill's hating, bro. Chill's hating. Chill's hating.
I always listen, man. I always got time for my man right here.
No, I'm gonna bring Adrian up because he's gonna stop this nonsense.
Mm-hmm. What up?
Yo. The mic good?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just saying, guys, when you guys are talking about the divisions, I put it in the chat. I think Minnesota should be potentially in the Central Division. Maybe you do something there. If you want to make a movement in the divisions.
Yeah, Minnesota's closer to Chicago and those guys. Maybe
I don't want to move them. I think the furthest team east.
I'm in the West.
I want to keep Minnesota in the West.
Okay.
Memphis is further east than all of these guys. Memphis and then New Orleans. I want to keep.
So would you put them in the Southwest? Like how would you move them? Like
he would move Memphis to the Southeast
with Miami and Orlando. Atlanta.
Okay, right.
Yes,
right.
I put them in that division. Washington.
When I think about it now, and I'm visualizing a map, that one actually does make because you can only move one team from the West, so that one does make the most sense. Because then obviously Seattle and Vegas, which we've just assumed are going to be the two teams, are Western Conference teams. So that one makes sense. That makes sense.
For me, so those are the two teams I would look at. Right, I understand like some people want to keep Minnesota in the West, some people don't. My only reason I always bring up Minnesota in these kind of conversations is I've always said like Minnesota, it just feels weird having them in the Western Conference. Some people disagree with me, and I I also think that with all the recent kind of developments, let's just say that, right, with the Knicks and all the rivalries we're seeing, I was like, you know what? Let's just move them to the East, see how this is going, see if we get anything from this, right? And then you see how. So I always like it when similar sports have similar divisions, right? And I would like the fact that if the NFL, you have a similar division in terms of your Central Division and your North divisions. I like that kind of symmetry. So that's the only.
I've been an advocate. Just so you know, I've been an advocate of reshuffling the divisions in football.
Right.
I've been a huge advocate of that. If you think about what the AFC East is, okay, take Miami, take Jacksonville, take those teams out the AFC.
Oh, that's right.
Out the AFC, take them out the AFC South, and take Miami out the AFC East, put them in the AFC South with Jacksonville. Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Take Tampa out the NFC East, put them in the AFC South with Jacksonville and Miami,
and out of the NFC South and put them into the AFC South.
Yes, take them out of the NFC and
that's the Florida division.
Here's the difference, Tone, because this is what I want to do. I want to take the Cowboys out the NFC East, and I want to put them in the NFC South with New Orleans. I want to put them.
That's technically where they should be. They're not East.
Where they should be.
They're not East.
Take them out the NFC East with the Giants and the what?
They're not East or South.
Yeah, I was about to put them with Philly. I'm like, no, take them. In fact, take the Jets and put them in the NFC East.
Well, now you're changing everything.
So I'm all for reshuffling.
You can't take an original AFL team and put them in the NFC.
That's what I'm doing, Tone. Let's get them out of here. Let's do it.
That's blasphemy.
Sir, let's do it.
If it wasn't for that fake Super Bowl where it was fixed and they beat the Colts, there wouldn't even be an NFL.
The famous number one from Joe Namath.
Yeah, famous number one, except he played like garbage. I guarantee a win, but I play like crap. Oh, I'm a hero. Get out of here. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead. Go one more thing, and then we got to get to Mr. Fernandez.
I also wanted to talk about Edey, right? And
Zach Edey, yeah.
I know you guys were talking. I heard story on the title, and I've been watching very closely because he was one of those players I was looking at in this draft, right? He was one. I think he won the College Player of the Year, if I'm incorrect. Someone can correct me in the chat. 2
years
times
in a row, and I've been telling you how great he's going to be. For the record,
I think people forget this guy is 7'4", guys. Like,
yeah,
he's the biggest player in the league. Just so you know, he's bigger than Wemby. Yes, he is.
Right, and when you're that big, and you just have just an average level of dexterity and skill, right? He doesn't. I don't think he the best example I can give is Domantas Sabonis, right? Sabonis, I don't think is the quickest player on the court, right, in terms of lateral foot quickness, right? But because of his skill and his understanding of post play and how to attack spaces, he can you can deal with the athleticism, right? Look at the matchups with AD and Sabonis. Sabonis wins those matchups.
He does.
Even though AD is one of the best defensive players in the game. Because of Sabonis' understanding of space and his overall skill in the post, he can sometimes win in those matchups. And with Edey, because of his size, and then also you add that with his overall understanding of space, and he's got a good post game. I think people forget that as well.
That jump hook,
we're seeing it now. For those that didn't know,
that jump hook looks like it's going to be impossible.
You add
just so you know, Adrian, just so you know, Mrs. Fluent and I, we actually had a conversation and we swayed Tone because Tone was not on the side of Zach Edey. He looked like he was more of a project. I remember it vividly when I said you guys needed a center, and me and you had me on speakerphone with Mrs. Fluent, and we had this conversation, and she was loving it. And you know what? Tone was like, "Wait a minute, that doesn't actually sound like a bad idea," because I thought that you guys could get him in Toronto.
I thought he would fall. The way people were talking, I thought he would fall.
I thought you guys could get him in Toronto, and I thought he would be perfect up in Toronto.
And one final question I wanted to hit you guys with, because this was a conversation in my group chat, so I wanted to hear you guys out on this, right?
Yep.
Do you have to be a 5-and-out offense to win an NBA championship in the modern era?
5 out?
Yes.
No. I think you have to be if you watch the NBA playoffs, it's not the team is playing 5 out that shoots a bunch of threes, because defense tightens up. The game gets slower. And I always use this example from last season. I want to say the first round, Denver and LA, right? Sometimes your shot's just not dropping. And one of the best things Jamal Murray did against the Lakers, you remember, he couldn't hit anything from 3. What'd he do? Took 2 steps in and started hitting those mid-range, and that's what won him the game. I think it's over AD. He hit the game winner. Like
2 buzzer beaters in that.
Yeah,
Right.
And it was because he understood the mid-range. So I think it's exciting. It probably wins you a lot of regular season games. When you're hot, you can blow out some teams. But I really think you still in this day and age, you have to have a balanced attack. And if you can take advantage of something that no one else is doing. So if there's a team that's playing 5 and out, whatever, like, right, they're obviously small ball, whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
A guy like Edey and those guys are going to eat your lunch when it matters, because who's going to that's why a bunch of teams are going bigger, is because they realize, we got to deal with Jokic. We got to deal with Embiid. We got to deal with, these guys. So I think there was I never think that it was the case. I think it's good in the regular season. I don't think it wins in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
So no.
Absolutely. Hi, Adrian. Good to talk to you, brother.
Appreciate you, man.
Yep. I think, Tone, if you look at, like, Milwaukee wasn't a 5 out offense.
No.
Even your Lakers, that wasn't a 5 out offense. No.
I think there's still a lot to be said. Even the ones that pretend to play a 5 out, I think it's more 4-on-1, like because they still have that person in the dunker spot that doesn't just look like, if you watch a team like Dallas, right? They're 4 out. And when Luka or Kyrie drives, that's why Lively was so good in those first few rounds of the playoffs, because he was in that dunker spot, and it was just like loop after loop after loop. But that guy in the dunker spot can also become a facilitator that people don't use as much as I'd like to see them use them as a facilitator. But because if you put it in their hands, well, now they have that ability to turn and score, or to kick it back out for a league that shoots a bunch of threes. So there's a lot to be said about having at least one. You mean
how Denver uses Joker?
yeah, exactly. I'll tell you right now, the way I coach my team, we start with a 5 out, but from the 5 out, we run a motion, a crossing motion, and my big plops down in the dunker spot as the defense gets all confused from the crossing motion, because the 2 things I teach them is, 1, motion creates space, and obviously spacing goes without saying, but motion creates space. And then I was fortunate enough, Coach Paul McKeskey, former Milwaukee Bucks center, gave my team some advice, which I will forever be thankful for, because it's a great philosophy. If you're open, shoot it. If you have a lane, drive it. If you have an open teammate, pass it.
It's really that simple. This shit is not that complicated. My goodness.
Man, and I said, you add those 3 principles to this kind of open spaced motion offense, man, buckets become easy to get.
Well, when you think about what you just said, Tone, and despite how much the game is changing, right? Like you just talked about with 5 out and the guys shooting at the break and they're shooting further out. There's things that don't go away. Like, can you defend? You have to rebound. How are you in transition? What kind of closeout defender are you? Can you make an open shot? Like, this stuff doesn't change because we are 50 years later.
Year to year, era to era, you still got to be between your man and the ball.
Yes, you do. That doesn't change. So because
you're man in the basket. You're man.
Right. Because we have spacing now, that doesn't change the fact that I still have to, okay, that's where the ball is. That's where my man is. I don't have to be back here. No, I still have to be between my man and the ball. The fact that we are 30, 40 years later in certain eras, I still got to go to the glass and rebound. I still have to do that. That's not changed. Just because we got bigger players and guys are shooting the long ball.
The rebounds are just bouncing out a little bit further. That's all. You just got to box out a little bit further away. Sorry, Joa. I know that's your name. I'm sure I pronounced it wrong. He's been waiting for a while, so let's bring him up real quick.
What up,
guys? Can I get y'all's thoughts on Tay Adams?
Can you tell me if I said his name right?
Oh, you can just call me John. That's the English translation.
Even better. All right. Yes, go ahead.
Can I get y'all's thoughts on Tay Adams to the Jets?
Oh, we started the show on that. I love it, Jay. I love it because I don't like it because I was wrong because I thought he was going to the Steelers. I love it in the sense that I think it's going to get my expectation is going to be a very much Randy Moss to the Patriots type of second half of the season. I think him and Aaron Rodgers there's no excuses now. You guys know each other. You work well together. You have chemistry. No more excuses. So I think you're going to see a good side. I think it's really good for the Jets. I think it's good for Adams. Listen, he had nobody to throw him the ball. He had me throwing him the ball in Vegas. In Vegas. And Aaron Rodgers, although he had Wilson, how many drops or bad footwork can Michael Williams how many of those bad Michael Williams plays can Aaron Rodgers live through? So that immediately alleviates that. It makes a huge difference.
I think it's crazy how sorry.
I don't think it's. I think that ship has sailed. I think we've seen the best of Aaron Rodgers, and I think that this is nostalgia more than anything. I still think Tay Adams is arguably the best wide receiver in the game, but I think Aaron Rodgers is past what he used to be, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to make it more than what it is, considering who Aaron Rodgers is today, off the strength that his name is Aaron Rodgers.
You don't think Aaron Rodgers is a significant upgrade from Gardner Minshew?
Oh, I 100% think he's. I think he's better than that. However, Tone, what I do think that they're expecting what you saw in Green Bay.
Oh yeah, okay.
And you guys think
that's not the same? No.
Well, Chill, do you think he's one of the upper echelon quarterbacks in the game?
No, I don't. No.
You think he's just okay at this point? He's just not elite. He's okay.
You think he's a mid-level quarterback right now?
I think he's. If I think about the best quarterbacks in the game,
yeah,
I don't think he's okay. So
who's better? Okay, Patrick Mahomes,
check.
Lamar Jackson,
check.
Josh Allen,
check.
Dak,
no.
Mm-mm.
Dak isn't better.
No, Dak is not better than.
Whoa!
Even today, I'm not taking Dak. I'm not taking Dak Prescott over.
And I'm a Bears fan. I have nothing but hate for Aaron. I'm still
can't believe I'm saying that. I think the kid in Houston is better than Aaron Rodgers today.
CJ Stroud.
CJ Stroud.
I think he's better than Aaron Rodgers.
You know Aaron Rodgers too already?
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts
today.
Jalen Hurts better.
What about Brock Purdy?
I'll take Brock Purdy over Aaron Rodgers today.
Get out of here.
So no on Jalen Hurts at all.
I would take Jalen Hurts over Aaron Rodgers. I would take Jalen Hurts over Aaron.
Do you guys think the Bill? Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. I think Aaron Rodgers is still top 10. I just think he's in the lower part of that.
So
if he's top 10, then he's elite. Then
Joe Burrow.
He's up fresh.
No,
is he better than Joe Burrow?
I think elite. Look, there's Patrick Mahomes, and then I think there's a gap, and then I think there's the second tier, the Joe Burrows, the Josh Allens, the Lamar Jacksons.
Is he better than Kyler Murray?
Those guys are elite. No, and I think Aaron Rodgers is just at the tail end of those elite guys, so he could fall into either the elite or the very, very good. So he's probably like 8 now.
So if you have him anywhere between 8 and 11, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
I'm at 8. I think I'm at. I haven't made a list.
8 and 11. I'm good with that. No
Do you guys think the Bills panicked in trading for Sorry, I don't remember the receiver's name, but I know it's a big time receiver.
Amari Cooper.
Amari Cooper.
Yeah, 100%.
What do you got? Any thoughts on that?
You think they jumped the gun, Tone?
I think they lost Stephon Diggs and thought they'd be fine. Their offense isn't what they thought it was going to be, and now they're panicking to we need to do something. And what better way than to bring in?
The fact that the Jets got Davante for a bucket of extra crispy and a 6-pack. I mean, with the
third round pick
with the 89th pick in the 2025 NFL draft. The Las Vegas. Davante Adams. Are you kidding me? I mean, they got him for almost nothing, and I won't argue that. But I don't know if they panicked, Tone. I mean, how many? If you think about if you think about receivers in the game, I mean, I think that Amari Cooper. I think he's one of the better playmakers. I was way wrong. I wasn't wrong. I was way wrong on Deshaun Watson. I was way wrong on him. I think he's over. I thought that he was going to reintroduce himself. Being in Cleveland, I thought it was a fresh start. I thought he was going to be awesome. He can hardly throw. His reads are way
Well,
off.
chill. That was one of the main criticisms prior to him going away. Like that is like he wasn't a good quarterback even when he was playing.
Yes, he
Prior
was.
to all that,
Yes, he was.
I think he was overrated.
When he was in Houston, he was a top 5 quarterback. And the reason why he was a top 5 quarterback, because the plays that he was making in Houston with that depleted offense made him look tremendous. Now he gets to Cleveland. I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is a little bit of a better offense, considering he's got a better receiving core and a better defense. He's going to reintroduce himself. No, that didn't happen.
You know, can I
I'm
take
seeing that man throw pick after pick.
Can I take back what I just said?
About
Because I'm looking at the Bills receiving core, Shakir, Curtis Samuel, Matt Collins. Yeah, so no, they didn't panic. They needed a better.
Yes, who's he throwing to? Yes,
Moon, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm actually jealous of the Bears. Like my Pats are terrible right now, man. We're in a worse off situation than you are. I can't believe it.
Give us 1 year, just let us have something. Like you're a Pats fan, you've had enough success. Take a year off. I don't want to jinx it. But yeah,
I'm looking at Caleb. He's got so much better receivers than Drake May. He's got a better O-line than Drake May, even though it's still bad. Like, man, I can't believe it.
Got a better defense. He's got even Swift is running them, but like we're getting some running game too. So
better running back. That's crazy. Like out of those top 3,
how good would we have looked if we didn't let David Montgomery go to Detroit?
And you just let him walk out the front door too.
Nothing.
For a buck for nothing. You just let him walk out. All right.
What could they have gone for him though?
No, they could have kept him. I want to keep him.
Yeah. How about who's running the football in Chicago?
It's by committee, but DeAndre Swift technically.
I didn't hate Montgomery in Chicago. I didn't love him in Montgomery. I didn't hate him though. I did.
Like Roshan Johnson is actually doing well at the goal line. I really thought Khalil Herbert was going to be the guy that stepped up.
I'm loving Romo Dunes. I watch Romo Dunes. I'm loving him, bro. Like, you guys are lucky. I got to sit here and watch Kendrick Bourne as a receiver for the Pats. I'm like, it's terrible.
I don't want to hear nothing from you Pat fans. Nothing.
How?
I don't want to hear a word out of you.
That's rich from a 49er guy. You guys own
you and this dude right here. This guy right here to my left. He got to see Magic and Kobe for almost 30 years. That's what he got.
Hold on a minute. And you got to see, and who'd you get to see? Joe Montana and Jerry Rice, the best receiver in the history of the game, and a top 3 quarterback in the history of the game.
And you know what? Do you hear me complaining about Brock Purdy?
No, you think
you should.
He's better than Aaron Rodgers.
You think I should be complaining about Brock Purdy?
Not Brock Purdy. No, let me say that. Not Brock Purdy.
You didn't hear me complaining when my team missed the playoffs 8 straight years. You know why? Because like you spoiled brat, and this nut right here, and this nut next to me, this other spoiled rotten. I can't believe I'm actually having this conversation. I am not a violent man, but if you told me that I could have Tom Brady for 20 years, I would be down to break a leg for that. You can.
Well, wait, chill. You got to see Joe Montana. That's crazy. Shouldn't you also be spoiled though? Because you got to see Joe Montana.
No, I'm not spoiled.
In his prime.
The difference between me and you.
I'm upset though because I heard now just came out, which I thought at the time, but now it's official. The Bears had a shot at Tom Brady when he went to Tampa Bay.
Oh God!
The difference between me and you two guys is I'm actually grateful. I got to sit next to a dude every week who had Kobe Bryant and Magic and Jabbar for 30 years, and he's still complaining.
I had more than that.
So wait, am I also spoiled? Was I also spoiled?
You are spoiled. You had Randy Moss.
Yeah,
and you had Jerry Rice.
And you don't hear me complaining, do you?
Well, you should have. We got 8 straight seasons. 8 straight seasons missing the postseason.
Not only did I have Jerry Rice, I had Terrell Owens too.
Yeah, Terrell Owens too.
In that 49er system, man.
You had Deion for a minute.
You don't hear me complaining. And you know why you don't hear me complaining? It's called being grateful. Unlike you two spoiled, rotten kids that I got to listen to. You guys.
Thing is, my situation's different. Like, Tom left us prematurely. No one was expecting him to just leave us like
40.
that. So he won a Super Bowl. He won a Super Bowl like literally right after.
That team.
What?
That team was stacked. Okay, John, man, appreciate it. Any? Did you have any other questions? Because we're actually out of time, but I have something to show.
It was just I wanted to get y'all's 2025 NBA champion predictions. That's it.
Oh, NBA champions?
Yeah, and Super Bowl if that's possible.
100%.
I think it's the Celtics, and if we can avoid the Kansas City Chiefs, I think it's the 49ers.
Say that a little louder, Chill. Can you say that a little louder? Just a little bit.
The Celtics win the NBA championship again this year, and if we can avoid the Kansas City Chiefs, I think we win the bowl game this year.
And for me, Jay, do you remember what I told you at the end of last NBA season?
You said to trade James. You were out.
Oh, I meant who's going to win the NBA championship. Do you remember what I said?
I don't remember. I'm sorry.
You don't remember? Oh, I told you back then, and I'm going to stick to it now. The Celtics are repeating. I said that at the end of last.
Man, this is beautiful. After seeing my Celtics not do anything for 30 years, this is our dynasty time right now. This is our dynasty time.
From a Laker fan, so you know it's when I say this, the Celtics, it hurts me to say, but they are going to win. And then from a Super Bowl perspective, listen, I'll stick with what my good friend Ric Flair always says: to be the man, you got to beat the man. So I don't see anybody until I see someone beat the Chiefs. I know that they're at least going to be in the AFC Championship game because every single year that Patrick Mahomes has been a starter, they've been there, and he's gone to 4 Super Bowls already, won 3. So I'm just going to go with the safe pick and take the Chiefs, winning a close one against my Bears.
I hope Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson take him out before that. I really don't want to see. I don't want to see him win another Super Bowl because then I'm going to have to start entertaining Tom and Mahomes conversations.
You're not. No, you're not. You're not. No, you're not.
All right, gentlemen.
Kidding?
All right, brother.
All right. Y'all have a good one, Chill. Y'all have a good one.
Appreciate you. Do you have a minute?
Yes.
I want to go into the future. Can we go into the future? I don't know if we can. Let's see.
Can we go to the future?
Packed up those 2 peach baskets. Well, the doctor wouldn't recognize the game tonight, but let's project ahead towards still a different century, the year 2020. Pat O'Brien tells us what the NBA will be like.
So this was done in 1988. Have you seen this? Have you seen it?
I think I sent this to you, Tom.
So okay, but we didn't talk about it. So let's just go through real quick. I'm going to skip through his talking because who really cares? So first off,
in went 1988, the year
2020.
32 years down the road, and not surprisingly, the players will be bigger and stronger. The average height 6'10".
The average height 6'10". For the record, the average height is 6'6" up until last year, I believe, which it was 6'7". We don't have this year's stats, so that is incorrect. Then they say the average guards
will come in at 6'6", forwards just under 7 feet, and the men in the middle will all look like Mark Eaton at 7'3".
Guards, the average are 6'3". Forwards average are 6'7", and the average center is just a hair over 6'9" at 6'10", but I mean just barely 6'10". So they were wrong on every single front.
That's 2020, sure. Yep.
So this, in 2020, it's actually the average height then was 6'6". It was actually smaller.
Bigger, yes, but better.
It is projected that the scoring average will rise to 234 points per game. The field goal percentage will rise to 57%, but at the line it will still be under 80%.
So I never got a clear answer to this. It says the average. Did it say the average team will score 234 points or the average game?
No, it's not. It can't be a team. I mean, it can't be one team scoring 234 points. No way. No, I think it's combined.
I thought it said the average team. Let me rewind and try if I can hear it again. Let's be quiet and listen.
It is projected that the scoring average will rise to 234.
Yes, but better?
It is projected that the scoring average will rise to 234 points per game.
The scoring average. He didn't say specific teams. He just said the scoring average. So I'm guessing.
Average.
So I'm guessing that like teams combined, and I think that's about right.
Yeah,
I think we're getting about 115, 118 a game on average.
We're getting 114, so the average was 228. So pretty close on that one. Pretty close.
Right.
On that one. We're at 228, so they were pretty close. Field goal average, I find interesting because they said the percentage that they thought it would be up to 57%. Do you know what the average field goal percentage is for teams in the NBA last year?
I'm going to say under 50.
47.4.
Mm-hmm.
They're off by 10%. Now, what they didn't know back in 1988 was that we would go from, and let me give you the number because I want it to be accurate. In 1988, the average team shot 5 3-pointers per game.
As opposed to 2020, Tone?
As opposed to 20 last year, which I'm using last year's number, 35 per game. So 35 times,
six times. I'm sorry, six
times. Yes. At 36%, that's part of the reason the scoring, the field goal percentage, because 2-point percentages, they're actually, I guess they're pretty close. I don't even know if I have that number. But if it's 47, yeah, it's probably close. It's probably close to 54% from 2. And then free throws, not pretty accurate, 79. And last year was 78.4.
So around 79. Okay, I can get with that.
Not that crazy. And let me hold on 1 second here, because this is very incorrect. Can you read that or no?
Yes, it says now all the players are taller, but the point guard can no longer dribble or pass, and the big can't rebound. Okay, that's just not true.
Everything in that statement, Jong-un, was incorrect.
Still have the limitations of trying to plop the ball in the basket from a distance. There's going to be a limit well before 100% in how far things can keep improving.
The new Modern City game will definitely have a new look in the year 2020. For one, the court will change. The lanes will get wider, after all the players are. And to add some additional excitement, the three-point line now becomes a four-point line.
2, 1, aim for 4. It's good!
And, oh yes, as you guessed, the hoop will go from 10 to 11 feet, and there will be a new stat.
So the key is interesting. The key, do you think they should widen the key?
No,
because they have it. The European is that
with the FIBA with the FIBA. I mean, the game is already. They've already pushed the big man further away from the basket as it is, Tone. So in terms of widening the lane, I mean, how much further are you going to push the big man out? You already pushed him away from. He already plays far away from the basket as it is.
Turned him into a 3-point shooter. Now is what you've done.
You've already done that. So
I've been telling you the lane. I told you the 4-point line's coming.
You did tell me that. Yes, you did.
It's coming.
I'm fighting you on it, Tone, because I don't think we're going to see a 4-point line. It just sounds like a gimmick. It just does.
That's what they said about the 3-point line.
Yeah, I understand, but here's the difference, Tone. I understood why the 3-point line was brought in later on. The 3-point line was brought in because, it was for the advantage of the small guy.
That's because it was exciting.
Yes.
And it was working in the ABA. So there's already leagues that are bringing out the 4-point line. If people start to like it, now, okay, it's the Globetrotters, it's a Filipino league, but you add a couple more leagues doing it, you never know. There's teams that practice with it. Yeah. So let's finish off here. The shoes, I think Jordans, those came out like 5 years after this, anyways. Don't those look like some Jordans?
Molded thermoplastic and the uniform temperature. The average and a new definition for spending money. For openers, your
I like money. So listen to how crazy they thought this was going to be.
Program will cost $30. It'll feature audio and video. The average.
So the program's going to be $30 and have audio and visual. Still don't have that.
No, that's
Although I
not
think
going
they're $30.
Ticket price $90, except in LA, where the floor seats will be over $1,000.
The average seat will be $90, except in LA, where floor seats will be $1,000. Do you know what the average floor seat costs for a Laker game?
I think a Laker game goes for like $3,500 on the floor.
Try that courtside seats range from $12,000 to $75,000.
Just to sit on the floor. So that $1,000, that times that by
I'll take that $1,000.
Yes, to sit on the floor at a Laker game.
And you 1-year-olds, listen up. You could make some big bucks playing basketball. Big bucks.
I guess it could be $25 million for a marginal player. And
25 million for a marginal player. So who's going to?
I can see $100 million player. I don't know if the year 2020 is the year or the year 2030, but I don't think at that rate, no matter what the situation is, that you'll see very many long-term contracts at that price.
Well, that's not true because.
So who do you think is going to be the first $100 million player? Wemby? Because they're already at almost 70.
Well, Anthony Davis, the last year of his contract, he makes $70 million. The last year of his deal, he's making $70 million. So it's not ridiculous to think that. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, Tone, De'Aaron Fox, if he makes the All-NBA team this year, he's eligible for a deal for $358 million.
The last one.
The National Basketball Association, NBA, will change to the International Basketball Association. And about this time of year in 2020, you'll see a very physical Eastern Conference.
So let's take a look at the East. We've got Moscow, Frankfurt, Tel Aviv, Milan.
Right now, the NBA champion is the world.
The Western Conference champion, Western Conference is Barcelona, Sao Paulo, Brazil, Toronto. So they were right. Toronto did get a team. But look who represents the USA.
Charlotte, no.
The worst team in the league. And listen to what David Stern said, which I vehemently disagree with.
Champion, perhaps the Lake champion.
Very physical Eastern Conference.
Right now, the NBA champion is the world champion.
Right now, the NBA champion. This was in '88. The NBA champion is the world champion.
Mm-hmm.
That's not true.
Yes, it is.
Not in 1989. No, it's not. And even it was even less true in 1988. And I'll tell you why.
Why?
Were there any teams in 1988 outside of the nation of the United States as the National Basketball Association?
No, there weren't.
So if you are a national champion, how are you a world champion? You're not. Was there a huge influx of international players in the NBA in 1988?
Not many, no.
If you want to make that argument now, we can have that. I still disagree, but we can have the conversation. But back then, in 1988, remind me, did the USA even win Olympic gold?
No, they did not.
So how was the NBA champion the world champion?
Because they did have the McDonald's Open during that time, and the world champion did go overseas and play in the McDonald's Open against the Euro League champion, against the Spanish League champion, against the Australian League champion. That was going on. And on top of that, the Denver Nuggets in 1988 beat the Olympic champion Yugoslavian national team, smoked them.
They're still, but that's when they would have become the world champion, not when they won the NBA title.
Sure.
Do you see right? Because if they
I do understand that. So they would have been after the McDonald's Open, then you become the world champion. But when you win the NBA, but there's the assumption that the NBA is the best league in the world. So you have to assume that if you win this, you're the best in the world. Yeah, well,
it's the best in the world without question for now. Gotta be careful. For now, there's a league coming.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen a lot of NBA teams lose to those international games. But anyway,
perhaps to lay claim to that title in the year 2020, the NBA champion will have to play the other best teams in the world.
And where will we be?
So he says perhaps to lay that claim, they'd have to play the other best teams in the world. So what is this? Am I missing something? This McDonald's Open that you're talking about?
Yeah, you don't remember when Bird and they played against Alba Berlin in Germany, and then in '95 when Houston was in it, when they played in
'88. Yeah, in '88 they played Real Madrid.
Mm-hmm.
But was Real Madrid the best team in the world at that, like outside of the NBA?
At that, I think Real Madrid was the EuroLeague champion.
I don't know. I'm asking.
In '88, I'm confident that Real Madrid in 1988 was the EuroLeague champion.
So in 1988, the McDonald's Open took place in Madrid, Spain. We had the Celtics. Let's see. Yeah, the Celtics won. They beat Real Madrid in the final.
So there was other teams in the league, by the way. It wasn't just Real Madrid.
It's tough to get any information on this stuff. This is why I like today's world so much better. All right. Okay.
We live in an information age. Back then, we had to go off what people said. Like I had to open up a newspaper. That was it. That's all we had.
I'm going to end on this picture. I'm not going to play it. Larry Brown. I'm just going to ask your opinion, and then I'll let you go. I was told that Larry Brown sabotaged the 2004 Olympics with LeBron James, that team, to save Jordan's legacy.
I don't even know what that means, but I don't know what that means.
He lost on purpose so that LeBron wouldn't have won, so that LeBron didn't win a gold medal in the
I've heard a bunch of conspiracies from you, and there have been some you've swayed me on, like the 2011 conspiracy. I actually, when we got off that day, I was thinking to myself, I don't know if I hate that theory from Tone.
It's not crazy.
Wait a minute. I mean, I don't hate that theory. I'm not completely on board with it, but I don't hate it. So,
how you feel about Larry Brown?
The best thing that ever happened to Carmelo Anthony was not going to Detroit.
Worst thing that ever happened to Carmelo Anthony was not going to Detroit. He'd be an NBA champion.
Larry Brown
would have learned to play some defense.
Larry Brown
he would have got players.
Listen to this dude.
And they would have got players. He would have got Larry Brown fired, and the players would have been his mentors, because without them, he became a black hole and just a really great scorer. Who people overrate because they only watch one side of the ball.
Tim.
It's come to that time for you to tell everybody to call their mother.
Ladies and gentlemen, it was good to see you tonight. You know where to find me and my man Tony Tone every Tuesday night, 8 o'clock on the Sports Fluent and Chilltown Hoops Network right here on YouTube. We will see you soon. But until then, put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. My mother's birthday was Sunday. I just talked to my mother. Call your mother. I will talk to you guys soon. We will talk to you guys soon. But until then, take it light, but take it.
I was at my mom's house yesterday for Thanksgiving dinner.